Chapter 428. Hearing this familiar voice, Yi Hua became happy and slowly raised his head. They are still the same, they did not become uglier. It's just that Qinya's belly has become much bigger. It must have been hard on her. However, what is with that look on their faces? They actually suspect that I am picking up girls? These two foolish women. If I really wanted to pick up girls, do you think that I would be discovered by the two of you? Why are you two here? Although I am very happy in my heart, I cannot show it, lest you two discover that I am very sad when I leave you two, or that I am very happy when I see you two return. Yi Hua's attitude made Qinya and Donghuang Baiji very unhappy. In any case, we haven't seen each other for more than a month, and now that we have met, you are still picking up girls, and you are even giving us an expression, as if we are disturbing you from picking up girls. Angry, very angry, let's go. Qinya and Donghuang Baiji turned around and left. This caused Yi Hua to go into a daze. What is the meaning of this? Leaving right after coming here? I haven't even taught you two a lesson yet. Furthermore, this is my territory. Is it a place where you two can come and go as you please? Yi Hua stood up and followed after them. These are the two lady boss's wives? As expected, they are as beautiful as goddesses. Selena muttered, and envy could be seen in her eyes. Big Brother Green took a glare at the two sisters. You two have caused trouble. What should we do then? Selena asked anxiously. Big Brother Green has to think of a way for his honor. Yi Hua, who was following after them, snorted, "Stop right there." Qinya and Donghuang Baiji, who were in front of Yi Hua, didn't pay attention to Yi Hua at all and walked out of 7 Bar. Yi Hua followed closely behind them. Looking at the two familiar back figures that were carrying traces of stubbornness, Yi Hua sighed in his heart. I can't even afford to offend these two women, let alone others. I have been in a cold war for more than a month. Although I have been wanting to teach them a lesson, I have been missing them more and more. Now that they have come to find me, they definitely have the intention to lower their heads. Since that's the case, I have to give them a way out. Yi Hua could be seen walking forward with large strides, one on each hand, and hugging the two wives into his embrace. What a familiar feeling. The fragrance that their bodies are emitting is still the same, the softness is still the same. It has been more than a month, but it feels like a few years. Let go. Let me go. The two little wildcats struggled with all their might, and right at this moment, Yi Hua decided to use a big move that would definitely be able to destroy the weakest line of defense in the two little wildcats' hearts. It wasn't that I, the Supreme Overlord, was bragging, but the moment I said this sentence, I guarantee that the two little wildcats would be bewitched to the point that they wouldn't be able to find their north, and they would be completely defeated within my chest. I miss you guys. Even though they were just 5 simple words, they contain the might of the heavens and earth, and they swept over with a momentum that could cause the seas to dry up and the rocks to crumble. Of course, I, the Supreme Overlord, don't really want it, I just want it a little bit. Don't misunderstand. Whoever misunderstood would be silenced. As expected, the two wildcats in his arms gradually stopped moving. These 5 words were also what they were thinking in their hearts, and these 5 words instantly opened up their thoughts. Just like what Yi Hua had said, they were drunk, facing against their husband's sweet offensive. Qinya and Donghuang Baiji were utterly defeated. Yi Hua had never said such words to them before, and at most, he would give them all kinds of lessons. Seeing that his wives had softened, Yi Hua exerted strength into his arms, allowing them to feel the heat of my chest. This way, they would no longer be able to leave my body. Don't say it. Lai Gu's plan is not bad. Hugging on to the most beautiful woman in the world, this feeling is not an ordinary feeling of beauty. If I were to use a word to describe this feeling, that would be, this feels great. After hugging for a long while, Yi Hua said faintly, "Let's go home." Soon after, he let go of his wives, held onto their hands, and walked towards the bar that was completely empty. However, Qinya and Donghuang Baiji were just like 2 daughters-in-law that had yet to marry into their family, and their faces were completely red. In their hearts, they were cursing at Yi Hua for being shameless. To actually use a sweet offensive, making it impossible for them to guard against it. In Qinya and Donghuang Baiji's hearts, They never would have thought that Yi Hua would say such a thing. Those 5 words were too enchanting, and even their hearts were intoxicated by them. When Yi Hua appeared in the bar while holding on to his wives, Wei Chang and the others were so shocked that their jaws were about to drop out. Don't look at how his honor's expression was calm, but the corner of his mouth that was slightly arched upwards was announcing to everyone that the 2 women were once again taken care of by me. No matter how much they jump, they will not be able to escape from my palms. His honor is too awesome. Just a moment ago, his honor's wife ran out of the bar angrily, and in the blink of an eye, his honor walked back into the bar shyly. Just what method did his honor use to coax his honor's wife? This is simply too miraculous. As expected of his honor, his magic is boundless. Holding on to his honor's tender hands, Yi Hua felt that he had a lot of face in front of his subordinates. Tonight, I have to properly relive the pleasure I had back then. Lai Gu has a good saying, when women are bored, they will make a fuss. Therefore, only by making them not feel bored will I be able to not feel bored. For example, sleeping until the afternoon. Then, how am I supposed to sleep until the afternoon? I have to stay up all night, but what am I supposed to stay up all night for? What else can I do? A man and a woman, could it be that they are going to stay up all night to play games? Yi Hua, wait a minute. Dong Huang Baiji suddenly shouted out tenderly. Hearing this voice, Yi Hua's chest trembled. Thinking back to that night 3 years ago, Dong Huang Baiji was still relatively young and inexperienced, and right now, she was just like a ripe peach, waiting for him to spoil. Yi Hua asked faintly, "What's wrong?" "First, I played the good cop and now I played the bad cop, to let them know that I am the head of the family." "Zishan, you are a deity, right?" Dong Huang Baiji suddenly asked. Yi Hua was startled. How did Baiji know that Zishan is a deity? Back then, when Ho Shualin's 3 subordinates brought the portrait of Zishan to look for Dong Huang Baiji, Yi Hua knew that Zishan was a deity. Zishan nodded her head. "That's right." "Yi Hua, sit down first, this is a very troublesome matter." Qinya was worried. Back then, after that crown prince ran away, he will definitely come back. At that time, there will definitely be more people coming. Yi Hua did not say anything and directly sat down. "Zishan, the deity sent 2 groups of people over, and there is also a crown prince." Qinya's tone was filled with worry, completely unaware that Yi Hua had already exterminated the royal family. Zishan said in a low voice, "Lady boss, you can be at ease, I have already come to an agreement with the other side, and the misunderstanding has already been resolved. Fortunately, I met the boss, and it was him who pulled me out from the abyss of pain. Then I met Yi Hong. I am very happy right now." Qinya and Dong Huang Baiji were a bit surprised, and they turned their heads around and looked towards Yi Hua. Yi Hua lit up a cigarette and nodded his head. "Yi Hua, back then were you at Ji family?" Qinya asked curiously. Yi Hua puffed out a mouthful of smoke. "That's right, I met Zishan at Ji family." Chapter 429. As for why, how can I just sit and do nothing when Ji family did such a thing that angered even the gods? They used such cruel methods to kill hundreds of family heads. If no one comes forward to give them an explanation, how can the souls of the deceased rest in peace? Yi Hua's acting skills had improved by another level. It was clearly you who arranged for Zhu Tian to let those people in, then used someone else to do the dirty work for you. After that, you even went over to kill those people with a strong sense of righteousness. Seeing that the 2 women were not speaking, Yi Hua said gravely, "If the 2 of you feel that what I did was wrong, then leave. Those who walk different paths cannot make plans together." Hearing what Yi Hua said, the 2 women's hearts trembled. Their hearts are tied up by Yi Hua. It is impossible for them to leave. After saying what Yi Hua said, Yi Hua became rather nervous. This is a gamble. If I win the gamble, they won't say anything about what I do in the future. If I lose, it would be game over. Qinya and Dong Huang Baiji let out a deep sigh, then sat beside Yi Hua and held onto his hand, using their actions to show that they were standing on their husband's side. Seeing that your wife is so understanding of his honor, Wei Chang felt at ease. However, if Qinya and Dong Huang Baiji were to find out that Yi Hua was still lying to them, they would definitely explode. From a small lie at the start, to using even more lies to cover up that lie. Gradually, it became a huge lie. I never lie, and even if I lie, it is a white lie. Boss. Lady Boss. You two misunderstood, they are my girlfriends. Big Brother Green could be seen pulling Serena and running into the shop. Big Brother Green's method was to let the two sisters pretend to be his girlfriends and dispel his wife's suspicions. This made Big Brother Green become even more ruthless. While pulling the two vampires, his entire body felt numb. Big Brother, why did you bring two vampires with you? Yi Hong was dumbstruck. I only left for half an hour, and this happened. They are even more awesome than me, and they are even two foreign ladies, they are exactly the same. Big Brother Green glared at his underling. What do you know? This is true love, Lady Boss, don't misunderstand. Yi Hua carried the two wives and went upstairs. Qinya turned her head around and said with a smile, there is no misunderstanding, you two can get along well. Big Brother Green was a bit stupefied. What is going on? Why is the Lady Boss so happy? Big Brother, the Lady Boss did not misunderstand anything. Yi Hong explained. No. Then what was the point of acting, holding the hands of two vampires? Big Brother Green hurriedly let go of Serena's hands. Thinking about that vampire's original form, his entire body felt goosebumps. The two sisters pursed their lips, feeling a little shy. They had never been held by a man in their lives, and their first time was given to the same man. Was this fate? Nice to meet you guys. Feel free to drop by whenever you have time. The two sisters said their goodbyes and hurriedly went back. Tang Wei watched as the two beautiful sisters ran away, then looked at Big Brother Green who had an uncomfortable expression on his face. LV Liang, your luck with women isn't bad ah. Sister-in-law, don't tease me anymore, those two are vampires, they are just like mosquitoes that suck human blood. Upon thinking about it, Lulu's entire body went numb. Don't, even if you beat me to death, I don't want it, is that so? I think they're interested in you. Zishan also began to tease LV Tao. Those two sisters are rather pure, which means that they are both good women. Lulu laughed dryly. Zishan, don't mess with me, we can't do that. Everyone laughed but didn't say anything. Although it was a bit of a joke, this joke was pretty good too. Yi Hua carried his two wives and directly came to the bedroom. This caused Qinya and Donghuang Baiji's hearts to be in a mess, as if this was the first time they came to the bedroom. Do I shower first, or do you two shower first? Yi Hua looked at his two wives and was already unable to hold back his impatience. A raging fire was already burning in his stomach, and he wished that he could bite the two of them into pieces. Qinya and Donghuang Baiji escaped from their husband's embrace and held hands, looking just like a frightened rabbit. And right now, Yi Hua was the big bad wolf. Yi Hua 3. Qinya didn't know what to say anymore. Donghuang Baiji's heart was beating rapidly. I was clearly angry at Yi Hua. Why did it become like this? Yi Hua said indifferently, Qinya, Baiji, this bedroom has created two lives. Don't the two of you want to enjoy the process of creating two lives? Qinya and Donghuang Baiji were startled. If we don't leave now and get caught by Yi Hua, we will be dead for sure. That ferocious night was still vivid in their minds. Although we have reconciled now, you can't? Donghuang Baiji said hurriedly. She wasn't mentally prepared at all. Qinya said in a low voice, let's go. Yi Hua sneered, want to leave? How can it be that easy? Yi Hua grabbed towards Donghuang Baiji who was the closest to him. Qinya, save me. Donghuang Baiji was immediately pulled out by Yi Hua, and Qinya was lucky enough to escape from this calamity. Yi Hua didn't mind. In any case, the two of them wouldn't be serving me together, so I'll just grab one of them first and settle the raging fire within my body. Donghuang Baiji tried to push Yi Hua away with all her might and begged, Yi Hua, don't be like this, I am still not ready yet. This begging tone of hers caused Yi Hua's bestial nature to become even more berserk. These two women's appearance had already reached the pinnacle of perfection, and only an outstanding man like me would be able to enjoy their delicate bodies. Your Majesty, let me serve you in bed tonight. With a crafty smile on his face, Yi Hua said gravely. Upon hearing this, Donghuang Baiji's heart was about to jump out. Yi Hua, Don't woo. Before Donghuang Baiji could finish speaking, Yihua sealed Donghuang Baiji's cherry lips, and Donghuang Baiji's hands even more ferociously tore off the clothes on the Empress's body. After revealing that indescribable body of hers, Yihua became even more greedy. He ruthlessly pressed the Empress onto the bed and enjoyed the pleasure that was brought to him by every inch of her skin. Meanwhile, Donghuang Baiji's beautiful face was about to drip blood. This kind of redness spread throughout her entire body, making her look even more alluring. Yihua. Donghuang Baiji couldn't help but call out to Yihua. The fire in her heart had already been ignited by her husband. The meaning of this sentence was very clear. Don't torture me anymore. Hurry up. Yihua enjoyed the pleasure that was brought to him by his wife's body and said in a low voice, Baiji, give me another child. Donghuang Baiji let out a nasal sound, and her pair of beautiful eyes were filled with tears. This wasn't because she was moved, this was because she was about to go berserk from being kissed by her husband. Yihua ruthlessly penetrated into her body. After 3 years, he was once again able to enjoy the Empress's gentle beauty. The feeling he felt was still as explosive as before, and in fact, he was even more excited than back then. Meanwhile, the Empress's pair of delicate hands were grabbing onto her husband's back, and her fingernails were already digging into Yihua's flesh. It was clear that she was a bit unable to endure it, and on her face, there was a look of pain and happiness. Half an hour later. Chapter 430. Yihua pushed aside Donghuang Baiji's hair. Do you know why we were able to have Ali in one go? Donghuang Baiji thought to herself. Yihua's crooked logic is going to come out again. Because we spent an entire night that day. Yihua stretched out his hand and pinched his wife's cheeks, feeling the tenderness of her skin. Donghuang Baiji wasn't going to fall for Yihua's trick. She pressed onto her husband's chest with both of her hands, but now, it's different from the past. That was a one-night stand. We are husband and wife now. We still have a lot of time in the future. We have to, Baiji, giving birth is a physical labor. We have to grasp every single second. You just enjoy the process of giving birth to a child. Donghuang Baiji shouted out strenuously. Donghuang Baiji was forced to retreat step by step. Yihua laughed lightly. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone, isn't it? You bastard! Quickly stop. Hee, I won't stop for the rest of my life. The battle continued all the way until the sky gradually turned bright. Yihua hugged onto the Empress who had already fainted and let out a long breath. My waist is a bit uncomfortable, looks like I have to strengthen my body, at least I can't let my waist get sore. Yihua lightly wiped away the tears at the corner of Donghuang Baiji's eyes. These should be tears of joy. However, looking at Donghuang Baiji's delicate look, Yihua became a bit restless. After thinking about it, I decided to let the Empress rest for a while. This woman, no matter how high her cultivation is, she just can't do this kind of thing. However, thinking about Donghuang Baiji's cultivation, Yihua decided to change it. Donghuang Baiji wanted to give birth to a boy. That way, there would be hope for her to awaken the power of the East Emperor's bloodline. However, from Yihua's point of view, my bloodline is the strongest. Ali is able to perform very well, so I shall let Baiji awaken her bloodline by herself. Yihua lightly pressed onto the Empress's chest. Don't misunderstand, I am just casting a spell. Damn it, I am clearly taking advantage of her. A gentle golden light appeared on Yihua's hand, and soon after, it entered Donghuang Baiji's body. Looking around, Donghuang Baiji's entire body was dyed with golden light, to the point that her entire body had become transparent. Originally, Donghuang Baiji was the descendant of Emperor Donghuang, and she was still able to use the weakened version of her bloodline's power. Yihua's attack instantly activated Donghuang Baiji's bloodline. The so-called awakening of the bloodline was equivalent to activating the bloodline in the body. In fact, everyone in the bloodline had it was just that they could not activate it. Gradually, the golden light on Donghuang Baiji's body disappeared. Yihua looked at the Empress who had just awakened, and that pure and holy face of hers had undoubtedly caused Yihua's heart to beat once again. I, the Supreme Overlord, am too mesmerized by the fact that I am able to press my lovely wife under my body once again. Dong Huang Baiji, who was in a deep sleep, was once again woken up by her husband's intense movements. Yihua, can you let me rest for a while? It has already been an entire night, Yihua said gravely. Life lies in movement, and this is even more so in the morning. I will fight you to the death. Dong Huang Baiji actually flipped over and pressed Yihua down. Only now did she have the aura of a queen. Within Qing Yutong's room, right now, Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi were using pillows to cover their ears. They had already been messing around for an entire night, and before they could even rest for a bit, they had already started again. This was simply not human. Yi Zizi was still fine, but Qing Yutong was suffering. Hearing this kind of sound was too terrifying for a virgin like her. Right now, inside a certain majestic castle in Europe, a meeting was currently being held. There was a total of 11 people, 8 males and 3 females. One of the males was sitting on a chair that was made out of gold, and all of the males were wearing black suits. Even the 3 females were wearing black suits. My emperor, the 2 princesses of the vampires have already been found. They are currently in Huaxiao's Long End city. One of the males bowed and said. The man who was sitting on the main seat said faintly, this time, we cannot let them escape. The purest blood of the vampires is extremely rare, and furthermore, it is enough to refine into blood wings. With that, I, the emperor, will no longer have to fear the main gods. My emperor, please be at ease. Subordinate has already planted the people in Long End city, and they are currently waiting to be captured. Very good. This time, we cannot afford to make any more mistakes. Yes. The man who was sitting on the main seat took a deep breath. How is the investigation of the incident that happened last time going? At this moment, a voluptuous woman walked out and said respectfully, My emperor, we are still in the midst of searching for that little girl. Wasted one of my primordial godly items. If that little girl could be of use to me, I would have long kicked over all of the gods in the shrine. The man suddenly became very irritable. Back then, when I found the little girl, she was still in a deep sleep. Originally, I wanted to directly kill the little girl, but in the end, the little girl was actually impervious to swords and spears. In the end, after investigating, I found out that the little girl was very terrifyingly strong. Therefore, I didn't hesitate to use the primordial godly item, Soul Devourer, to change the little girl's thinking and make her submit to me. Everything was going well, but suddenly, one day I was told that all of the priests were dead, and the little girl was gone. Therefore, I can only look for other methods, and lock onto the 2 princesses of the vampires. However, I still didn't give up on searching for the little girl. After my emperor has refined the purest blood of the vampires, we will definitely be able to defeat all of the gods. The man slowly stood up, and on his back, 6 pure black wings actually unfolded. Demon King Lucifer. Leisure Bar's 2nd floor bedroom. It was already noon. Yihua was hugging onto the soft empress, and his pair of big hands were wandering around the wilderness. Yihua, stop messing around. I don't even have the strength to move my fingers right now. Dong Huang Baiji leaned onto her husband's embrace and said tenderly. She felt that her entire body was about to fall apart, and she didn't want to move at all. Looking at the empress's current state, Yihua already understood that Lai Gu's theory was correct. Right now, don't talk about messing around. Dong Huang Baiji didn't even have the strength to speak. To be able to make the most beautiful woman in the world into this state, Yihua felt especially great. What do you want to eat? I will prepare it for you. Yihua lightly caressed onto his wife's hair and asked concernedly. Baiji had worked hard this night. Dong Huang Baiji moved slightly. I don't want to eat, just let me rest. How can that be? We still have to continue tonight. Dong Huang Baiji felt like she was going to die. We still have to do it tonight. I don't want to. Dong Huang Baiji said dizzily. She clearly wanted to refuse, but this powerless refusal made Yihua feel something again. Let's do it again then. Go and call Qinya. Don't mess with me anymore. Qinya won't be able to run away either. It is more important for us to give birth to a child. Let's relax a bit. This is a very beautiful thing. If Dong Huang Baiji knew that such a thing would happen when she came yesterday, she wouldn't have come even if she was beaten to death. Compared to 3 years ago, Yihua was even more ferocious. If it was an ordinary woman, how would she be able to endure it? She would definitely be killed by Yihua. Chapter 431. Mama, are Mama and Papa giving birth to a younger brother? Dong Huangli asked naively. In her heart, she was also very happy. Daddy and Mommy have finally reconciled with each other, and I finally don't have to worry about anything anymore. Now, I can obediently be a child who acts like a spoiled child, and in the future, I will bring my little brothers to play with me. I am so happy. Qingya was helpless, thinking to herself, Donghuang Baiji should be very happy right now, right? Qingya said, that's right, therefore, let's not disturb them. Oh, then when are we going back? Let's wait for another 4 to 5 days. In the past, if it wasn't for me using my pregnancy as an excuse, Yihua would have long made a move on me. Now that I have passed the first trimester of pregnancy, would Yihua let me off? Thinking back to how ferocious Yihua was that night, Qingya became afraid. Hopefully, Donghuang Baiji would be able to withstand the first wave of damage. If Donghuang Baiji were to find out that she was sold out by Qingya, she would definitely give Qingya a taste of Yihua's brutality at all costs. It was only the first wave of damage, and he was already about to be killed by Yihua. Right now, Donghuang Baiji only had a single thought in her mind, and that was to get pregnant as soon as possible. That way, Yihua wouldn't be like this. Right now, Yihua was becoming more and more infatuated with his wife's delicate body, the kind that would ignite with just one look at her body, and he basically spent the entire day on the bed. The next day, it was still the same. This caused Donghuang Baiji to want to run away. Right now, she doesn't even have the strength to speak. At night, there was not a single customer in the entire leisure bar. The 7 bar on the other side of the bar was overcrowded. Originally, he wanted to drive the customers, but he couldn't. However, the subordinates didn't mind at all, because Tang Wei, Zishan, and Sun Fang's resentment was very big. Look at his honor, he really dotes on his wife. After he came back, he didn't go downstairs for 2 days. They were both women, but your wife was much luckier. She looked at herself. She clearly had a man, but she couldn't move. Living as a widow. At this moment, Zishan, Tang Wei, and Sun Fang, the 3 women, were sitting on a booth at the side, and their faces were filled with hidden bitterness. What do you think these men are thinking? Why don't they learn from the supreme scholar? Zishan said angrily. I also wish that I won't be able to get out of bed for a few days. I have lived for a few thousand years, yet I don't even know what it feels like to be a woman. In the past, he hadn't met anyone he liked. Now that he had, it was still the same as before. It was too frustrating. Sun Fang sighed. You guys are lucky. At least men have meat. Look at mine. My bones are so hard that I need a cushion to use as a pillow. Let's go look for his honor and ask for a physical body. Zishan said. Sun Fang let out a long sigh of relief. I'm stuck at this point. If I let him do it, he'll be shy. If I were to do it, how could I, a girl, open my mouth? You are making me feel like I really want it. Don't you want to? Zishan was really straightforward, causing Sun Fang's beautiful face to turn bright red. They were simply 3 resentful women. It wasn't that the men couldn't do it, but that the men didn't even want to have sex with them. Tang Wei, what about you? Could it be that Uncle Wei still doesn't have any? Sun Fang asked curiously. Tang Wei wiped the glass cup that was in her hands. She had been wiping the glass cup for the entire night. Uncle Wei, I don't know what to say either. I don't even want to hint at him anymore. He can touch it whenever he wants to, let's just leave it to fate. Seems like Tang Wei has already seen through everything. No matter how crazily she tries to hint at Uncle Wei will not understand. Even if I strip naked and stand in front of Uncle Wei actually said, Aya, why aren't you wearing your clothes? You will catch a cold. Quickly put on your clothes. From that moment onwards, Tang Wei completely gave up, because if she were to continue to hint at Uncle Wei, Tang Wei was afraid that she would suffer from internal injuries. Zishan said vexedly, I shouldn't have agreed to Yihong back then. Tang Wei smiled. Zishan, with your figure, just a little bit of temptation will do. My Uncle Wei doesn't even fall for temptation. Tang Wei, do you think that I have never tried to seduce someone before? I specially went to Jingdong to buy a set of see-through clothes, and in the end, do you know what Yi Hong said to me? Tang Wei and Sun Fang immediately became curious. For a man to be able to resist Zishan's temptation, that is also a miracle. Yi Hong actually said, it's going to be Double 11 soon, and when that time comes, he should go and buy a discount. At that time, King wanted to break his legs. After finished speaking, Zishan was angered to the point of laughing. Tang Wei and Sun Fang also laughed. I am already dressed like this, and he actually wants to buy a discount, oh my god. Zishan covered onto her face, and had a look that seemed as if she had nothing left to live for. Tang Wei patted onto Zishan's shoulder, seems like we have met an honest and straightforward man. Sun Fang let out a breath. The little skeleton shouldn't be this honest and straightforward. After all, he doesn't have any flesh, so there's nothing I can do about it. Right at this moment, Tang Wei said in a low voice, do you guys know about Zhu Tian? Sun Fang and Zishan nodded their heads. They had met before, but they weren't familiar with each other. I heard from Uncle Wei that Zhu Tian has 2 women that he does every day. Whoosh, these 3 women are truly bored to death to actually start gossiping about this kind of thing. Furthermore, upon hearing about this kind of thing, their saliva almost flowed out from their mouths. Sun Fang also said in a low voice, Lai Gu seems to be the same as well, I really envy them. The 3 women let out a long sigh and looked towards the men who were not far away. Men naturally wouldn't discuss about this kind of low-level interest, it's simply too vulgar. Too vulgar. Wei Chang held onto his phone and tightly wrinkled his brows. Death Mage, how many balls did you buy? 3 balls, Manchester United wins. Death Mage was full of confidence and directly placed his bet. Betting? This is my specialty. Not that I am boasting, but I will definitely be able to lead everyone to a prosperous life. Yi Hong, how much did you buy? The big brother LV Liang took a glance at Yi Hong, and Yi Hong immediately shrunk back. LV Liang raised his hand and slapped. Don't think that just because you have a wife, I don't dare to hit you. Your wife even told me to keep a close eye on you. Quickly let me take a look. Yi Hong paused for a moment, then said in a low voice, don't tell Zishan, I was saving it to buy a bag for her. Alright, I won't tell her. LV Liang took a look and sucked in a cold breath. K, aren't you afraid of getting beaten up by your wife? This little brother actually bet 5,000 RMB. That's 2 months' salary, you and Zishan only get 5,000 RMB a month, and you used all of that to bet. LV Liang seemed to have already seen his little brother kneeling on the keyboard, and Zishan sitting at the side looking at him coldly. The multiplier is very high. If I were to win, I would be able to earn tens of thousands of yuan. What's more, Big Brother Skeleton said that he is the god of gamblers. Yi Hong had blind trust in Death Mage. One must know that Death Mage was also someone who lived in a villa in the past, and after a match, he would immediately sleep on the overpass. Big Brother, how much did you buy? Yi Hong instantly took a peek at Death Mage, then immediately cried out in surprise, 10,000 RMB. Be quiet, this is my wife's money. Wei Chang felt that he was able to trust his little brother. I still have tens of thousands of yuan in savings, and I was originally planning to use it for my wedding, so I might as well take a gamble. Changing a bicycle into a motorcycle, giving Xiao Tang a better wedding, I can't let others suffer. Chapter 432. Death Mage had a mysterious amount of confidence towards himself. He had bet all of his money, which was a few 100,000. After he wins, he will go and show off in front of Sun Fang. In the future, if you want to top up your money, you have to call me master, or else I won't top up my money. Besides, I'm no longer interested in cheating anymore. Wei Chang switched on the TV in the hall and put it on CCTV 5. It was about to start. The 4 men were very excited. This could be considered a bet. They couldn't lose. The 3 women sitting at the side were very curious. Why did these 4 men start watching football? Were they all so bored? However, Sun Fang still didn't know about Death Mage's dark history. That was because when they met, Death Mage had already sworn that he would no longer gamble on football anymore. Therefore, they didn't think too much about it, and the three women continued to chat about the vulgar topic. It couldn't be helped. They had a common topic, and the more they talked, the more enthusiastic they became. She was completely unaware that the men had already begun to gamble. LV Liang was fine. She was single, so no one would care even if she lost all her money. Yi Hong was different. He was a man with a family, and he still had to support his wife. Wei Chang was also the same. Although he was not married, he had already regarded Tang Wei as his lifelong companion. Death Mage was still as confident as ever. The ball's in. Manchester United scored the first goal of the game. Along with the commentator's high-pitched voice, the four men hammered the table. Bang! Instantly, it broke into pieces. The three women frowned and looked over. Why are you so excited about scoring a goal? I've never seen you guys watch football before. Wei Chang said in a low voice, calm down. Isn't it just a goal? Look at you guys, keep your cool. The three subordinates remained silent. Just now, Uncle Wei, you were the one who hammered harder. Very quickly, the first half of the game was over. Ever since that goal was scored, there was nothing else. The four men were in low spirits. Death Mage said, don't be anxious, there is still the second half. The second half began. Manchester United scored a goal in an instant, 2-0. The four men suppressed the excitement in their hearts and said in a low voice, another goal. A bicycle turned into a motorbike. Yi Hong began to daydream. I won the bet, and I even won a lot of money. Will Zishan give me a kiss? Just thinking about it makes me excited. Yi Hong was not the only one filling in the blanks, the other three were also doing the same. 90 minutes were almost up, and he still had to score a goal. Death Mage was already unable to control his desire to cheat. If I don't score a goal after playing for 90 minutes. For Master, he had to cheat as well. He had to emphasize that this was not for himself, but for his master. I want to improve. 3 o'clock. Manchester United will go down another level in the 90th minute. The sudden joy shocked all four of them. They had won. Death Mage, very quickly, the Green and Red brothers also joined in the celebration. This made the leisure bar, which was facing bankruptcy, become even more lively. Wei Chang was still calm. As the boss, how could he shake his butt to celebrate? He had to tell Tang Bingyao the good news. The three women looked at their sudden excitement and were speechless. How old were they, but they were still like children. Xiao Tang, come over here. I have a piece of good news for you. Wei Chang waved his hand towards Tang Wei. Jijiji, royal translation, ugly woman, come here quickly. Big brother has won money millions. Yi Hong was also very excited. Zishan, I have a piece of good news for you too. Big brother LV Liang was actually unable to share this moment of joy with his girlfriend. He felt that life was so bitter, he was the only single dog in the team. The three women walked over to their men's side curiously, wanting to hear what kind of good news it was. Just as the three men were preparing to show off, the commentator's excited voice suddenly rang out from the television again. Manchester United scored another goal. They actually scored another goal during the stoppage time. Let us congratulate Manchester United for winning against their opponent with a score of 4 o'clock. At that very moment, the smile on the faces of the four men froze. Death Mage's smile did not count. He had been frozen the entire time. 4 o'clock. Why did it become like this? A match was obviously played for 90 minutes. Why was there a need for stoppage time? Even if there was a need for stoppage time, why did you have to score another goal? Don't you know that a lot of people would jump off a building because of this? May I ask the brother who scored the goal in the end, do you know that you are a murderer? This was the rhythm of falling from heaven to hell. What should I do now? My wife is already in front of me, and he even said that he was going to tell her good news. Could it be that I gambled and I clearly won just now, but in the end I lost again? The three women immediately felt that something was amiss. Just a moment ago, their faces were still filled with joy, but when they heard that Manchester United scored another goal, their faces immediately darkened. Zishan looked towards Yi Hong with a smile and asked, hubby, what good news is it? I'm panicking. I'm really panicking. I'm so panicking. How am I supposed to reply? Sun Fong seemed to have sensed something and asked Death Mage, "Did you gamble on a football match?" Hearing that, Tang Wei looked at Wei Chang in disbelief. "Uncle Wei, did you gamble on a football match?" "Hong, did you gamble on a football match as well?" Zi Shan questioned angrily. LV Liang suddenly felt that he was very happy. This is the happiness of being a single dog. "Look, even if I lost, I didn't get any blame from my girlfriend." All the men remained silent. "Uncle Wei, why did you guys gamble on a football match?" Tang Wei said with hidden bitterness. "Uncle Wei, you even got involved in gambling. Why aren't you willing to get involved in gambling on a football match with me?" The three of them immediately pointed at Death Mage. Death Mage immediately became stupefied. "In the beginning, I was the only one betting, and it was you guys who were asking me what this was all about. In the end, you guys couldn't resist the temptation and joined in as well. If you guys didn't join in, would I be able to bet a few 100,000? I would definitely only bet around 10 to 20,000. Sun Fong was flustered and exasperated. She shouted, "Good for you. You don't learn good things all day and bring boss to gamble with others. Let me see how much you've lost." Sun Fong picked up Death Mage's phone and took a look at it, and she immediately felt dizzy. Right now, Death Mage doesn't have any source of income, and he is still living off his previous capital. And now, Death Mage just lost a few 100,000 in one go. Grabbing onto the Death Mage's robe, Yu Yang picked up the death scythe that was at the side and scolded while walking, "You damn skeleton, after losing so much money, just wait and see how I'm going to kill you when we get back. Don't even think about topping up money to play games." Seeing that Death Mage was being dragged away by Sun Fong, the three men swallowed their saliva. "Luckily, I didn't gamble too much. But what was the difference? They were all gambling." Tang Wei took a look at Wei Chang's phone and immediately felt a bit dizzy. However, she didn't scold Wei Chang like how Sun Fong did. She walked to the side and sat down. Meanwhile, Zi Shan also picked up Yi Hong's phone and took a look at it, and the corner of her mouth twitched. "Yi Hong, you are truly becoming more and more formidable. To actually dare to gamble 5,000 RMB. Our 1 month's wages have all been gambled away by you. Are we going to eat dirt this month? We don't have to pay property fees, we don't have to pay electricity and water fees, and we don't have to pay gas fees either. Forget about the cosmetics, I don't need to put on makeup, but there should at least be 1 or 2 pieces of clothing, right? You still said that you want to wait until your career is successful, but from what I see, don't wait until your career is successful, you should just go back and give birth to your child first." Zi Shan was rather smart, using this as a pretext to make a fuss. Yi Hong felt that his face had lost all face. "Since I am being looked down upon by my wife, I must definitely make some achievements for my wife to see. I can't let her look down on me." "LV Shu, as the big brother, why didn't you persuade him?" Zi Shan said towards Big Brother Green. Big Brother Green was a bit embarrassed, but he quickly covered it up. "Zi Shan, wasn't it because I wasn't able to persuade him?" Forget it, Big Brother, you can pay for this month's expenses first." Chapter 433. Wei Chang sighed deeply. He walked toward Tang Bingyao and sat down beside her. He did not know how to comfort Tang Bingyao, so he simply hugged her gently in his arms to express his apology. Seeing that Uncle Wei had succeeded, Yi Hong also wanted to follow suit. However, Yi Hong overestimated her position in the family. Her ears were immediately grabbed. "Speak. Are you going to give birth or not?" Yi Hong's attitude was very firm. "Honey, don't worry. I won't let you down." Zi Shan was slightly startled. "I agreed to it so quickly today, causing me to feel a bit embarrassed. I will work harder in the future and become a man worthy of you. When that time comes, I am willing to sacrifice myself." Hearing what Yi Hong said, Zi Shan's bashful little face froze, and soon after, she sent her little fist towards Yi Hong. "I'll beat the shit out of you, you heartless man, you only know how to bully me." The small fists pounding on her chest were quite comfortable. Yi Hong imitated Uncle Wei and hugged his wife in his arms to comfort her. LV Liang was no longer able to continue watching this. "Look at his honor, He has never displayed his dog food in front of his subordinates before. I'll just go out to get some fresh air and smoke a cigarette. He wanted to relax and wait until he returned to achieve his dreams with his own 2 hands. Everything was arranged in an open manner. While smoking the cigarette, LV Liang slowly raised his head and looked towards the sky. To think that there would still be birdmen appearing tonight, this is really like seeing a ghost. Just when LV Liang wanted to return to Leisure Bar, that group of birdmen actually landed in 7 Bar. This made LV Liang, who was about to enter, stop in her tracks. I, the dignified left protector of the Burying Love clan, will not meddle in other people's business, even if I lose everything. Furthermore, His Honor didn't even ask me to take care of them, so why should I bother to take care of them? They are vampires. Wake up, they aren't even humans. Who knows, they might have a bunch of sharp teeth down there, and if I were to bite them off, they might just snap them off. Thinking up to here, LV Liang shivered, and decided not to bother about it anymore. LV Liang suddenly looked up and saw the group of birdmen grabbing 2 pure white figures and flying into the night sky. It has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with me. LV Lu let out a light sigh, who asked me to be a good person. I can't bear to see other people bullying girls, just that this girl is a vampire, although I don't know if she has any. It would be good if I could just take a look at her. I am unlucky today to meddle in other people's business. Thinking about it, Yihong, I didn't say. LV Liang, who was following behind, saw that the 7 people in front of her had landed. She also hid quietly and peeped at the side. These foreigners' influence was quite complicated. 5 people actually came to capture 2 girls. Look at our His Honor with 10 plus of these. And Xiao Tian. Xiao Tian Liang. Xiao Chong He Xiao Hao Tian, the and the to the Xiao. The 2. Liang and said Liang. The Tang the yes to Liang to say, Liang, the Bingyao the Yen came and started. At this moment, the 2 sisters were tied up. LV Liang had seen this binding technique before. It was quite professional and was commonly known as Asian binding. The prettier a woman is, the more likely she is to lie. My big brother Green has suffered losses before. You guys are unable to move my heart. Serena, contributing to the great Lucifer is your greatest honor. The one who spoke was called Julia. She had a voluptuous figure and seemed very charming. However, LV Liang felt that this person was even more not his type. She was more like an obeson. However, there is actually Lucifer, the demon king in the novels? I didn't expect that there would really be such a demon king in this world. Then, are the European gods real as well? Serena said coldly, even if we were to be wanted by a dog, we would still not yield to Lucifer. LV Liang felt that Serena's words were a bit too much. It can't be described like that. After all, humans and animals have different tastes. The younger sister, Selena, said in a sweet voice, kill us. Big sister and I will not contribute our purest blood. He contribute or not, it is not up to you guys to decide. My emperor will naturally have a way to pry open your legs. Taylor let out that obscene laughter. This man and woman were 2 of the 10 demon generals under Lucifer. They were 4-winged dark angels, and the other 3 men were 2-winged soldiers. There was no need to be afraid of them. LV Liang felt that Taylor was shameless. Back then, when I read novels, I liked Lucifer, but I didn't expect that Lucifer would actually do such a despicable thing in real life. If it was me, I will definitely use my love to open their legs. It is about time for me to go on stage. LV Liang took out his hair wax. That's right, Big Brother Green is currently carrying hair wax with him, all because he wants to imitate his honor's expression. Yihua lightly pinched. This is just like farting, it is a bit awkward. Who? The birdman could be seen immediately standing up and looking around vigilantly. The 2 sisters who were tied up were also looking around curiously. If someone were to come and save them right now, they will definitely repay the hero with their lives. LV Liang hurriedly squeezed out the hair wax and smeared it on his hair, then combed it back. Yihua took out a small mirror from his windbreaker and took a look at his appearance. Alright, it is time for me to go on stage. LV Liang could be seen standing with his hands behind his back, imitating his honor's walking posture and expression. Taylor and Julia looked at the green man in front of them confusedly, and when the two sisters saw that it was LV Liang who came, their hearts burst with joy. If they had a choice, they would rather hand over the purest blood to him than to give it to Lucifer. LV Liang didn't know what to say. I have learned quite a few of his honor sayings, but that kind of tone and aura is too hard to learn. All of you are going to die today, LV Liang said coldly. The atmosphere immediately dropped to the freezing point. LV Liang was very satisfied with this effect. I feel that I have moved another 0.1 millimeter closer to his honor. However, Selena cried out in surprise, Big sister and I are going to die as well? No, 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 I am here to save you too, LV Liang hurriedly explained. However, after Yi Hua explained, the atmosphere that was just created just a moment ago immediately disappeared. Damn it, I actually met with a pig teammate. Forget it, I am unable to learn his honor's charm, I will just take the comical route. For you, Julia shouted out. LV Lu touched her own hairstyle and felt that it was very cool. At this moment, Serene whispered, Sister, he's so handsome. Serena nodded. It seemed that foreigners had a strange sense of beauty. Good question. I'm the left guardian of the Deathbane clan. LV Liang. His nickname is Big Brother Green. He flicked his windbreaker and pointed at everyone. This posture was a little cool. So handsome. The little fangirl, Serene, started cheering for LV Liang. LV Liang was not used to it. This was the first time she had been praised like this. She was a little excited. This vampire was obviously trying to hint at him. Chapter 434. How gentlemanly, Serene, his little fangirl, shouted in infatuation. Although her sister, Serena, didn't show it, she felt that LV Liang was very manly. He actually dared to save her and her sister single-handedly. The other party was a demon general under Lucifer. His combat power was terrifying. With this courage, he had already obtained his affirmation. His younger sister was already beyond crazy. Lulu let out a light sigh. Ever since she started following his honor, she felt that she had become more confident, more energetic, and greener. Lulu said to the two sisters, Don't misunderstand, and don't have any other thoughts towards me. There will never be a happy ending between us. Sister, he's so tasty. Serene had a lot of complaints. Suddenly encountering such a man, she couldn't control herself. Well, it's indeed very tasty. After saying that, he even licked the corner of his mouth. F***ck, you guys actually want to suck me? Vampires indeed. Always thinking about sucking people. Shut up all of you. Julia shouted angrily. What do you mean by this? He was still in the mood to talk about love. LV Liang said to the two sisters, Now that you're safe, take a taxi back. I don't have money. I have money, Serene said hastily. Oh my god, they actually want to use money to smash me. Kill. Taylor couldn't take it anymore. The 4 black wings on his back spread out in an instant. A two-handed sword appeared in his hand and he slashed at LV Liang. Piercingly cold sword energy swept through the surroundings, while the voluptuous Julia transformed into a trident and attacked at top speed. Facing the attacks of the demon generals, LV Liang put away her smile and raised her hands. He caught the blade with his bare hands. Are you afraid or not? Boom. The two sisters were dumbstruck as they looked at the scene. He surrendered just like that. The way LV Liang raised her hands made the sisters think that she was surrendering. If LV Liang knew about this, she really wouldn't know what to say. I am the subordinate of his honor's subordinate. Although my level is the lowest, that is only within the team. After the smoke dispersed, the two sisters stared dumbfoundedly, their exquisite little faces filled with astonishment. He had actually caught the attacks of 2 great demon generals barehanded. How was this possible? It was unbelievable. They saw that the ground under LV Liang's feet had completely collapsed, but her body was still standing straight. Her tall figure made the two sisters fall into a state of stupor. Who didn't like a hero who saved them? Originally, she thought that she was doomed this time and would become Lucifer's slave in the future. She didn't expect a hero to appear. Shouldn't a beauty be matched with such a hero? LV Liang sneaked a peek at the two siblings and thought to herself, oh no. They must be attracted by my figure. Taylor and Julia were surprised. This mysterious Easterner could actually catch their attacks with his bare hands. How was that possible? Although it was said that the Easterners were mysterious, it was impossible for them to be this mysterious. Moreover, he had been ignoring her from the beginning to the end, flirting with the two bloodlings. LV Liang wanted to explain that she wasn't talking about love, okay? Can you guys have some brains? Retreat. Julia gave the clearest instruction. This man was no match for him at all. This mysterious Asian man was terrifying. Lu snorted coldly. Want to leave? How can you birdmen come and go as you please in his honor's territory? Immediately, 5 strands of black mist shot out from her hands and bound the 5 birdmen in the air and forcefully dragged them back. LV Liang looked at these birdmen coldly. Since they can kidnap us today, perhaps they can kidnap little Ali tomorrow as well. I definitely can't let them live. After the bloodbath in the Imperial City, Big Brother Green was no longer the Big Brother Green from before. When he gets serious, he is more cold-blooded than anyone else. What are you trying to do? Julia had a panicked look on her face as she struggled with all her might. LV Liang walked over slowly and asked, I wonder what would happen if I were to pluck out your wings? You. I will experiment on your underlings first. After finished speaking, Lu walked to the back of one of the underlings, grabbed onto the wing on his back, and pulled out fiercely. Looking at the wing in his hand, LV Liang said slowly, if only it was a chicken wing. Speaking of chicken wings, I kind of want to eat KFC. The underling who lost his wings immediately let out a miserable shriek, then turned into black particles that floated into the air. However, what LV Liang didn't know was that to angels, plucking out their wings was the most severe punishment. Very quickly, 3 underlings were freed. Lord Lucifer won't let you off. Julia didn't beg for mercy and stared coldly at LV Liang. Oh, I got it. Yi Hua pulled out his hands. A pair of black wings were forcefully pulled out by LV Liang, causing Julia to let out a terrifying shriek. Soon after, Yi Hua pulled out his hands again and completely freed Julia. Taylor said gravely, the gods won't let you off. You will pay a painful price for today's actions. Oh, Taylor, after plucking out all of the birdmen, the world became quiet again. Walking to the 2 sisters' side, Yi Hua loosened the Asian bindings. All right, the 2 of you are safe now, quickly go home. LV Liang threw away the rope in his hand. The 2 sisters took a look at each other, then lightly kneeled down in front of LV Liang. This gave LV Liang a fright, and he hurriedly helped the 2 sisters up. I can't accept this. LV Liang, thank you for being able to accept me and big sister? Selena slightly lowered her head and said in a low voice. Nanny, when did I accept you? You guys can't scam me like this. Don't bully me for being honest and insensible. LV Liang said with a smile, misunderstanding, but you helped us up just now. Selena said with grievance. Ah. LV Liang cried out in surprise. Big sister Selena said gravely, just now, little sister and I used the greatest etiquette of vampires. If you accept us, you can help us up. But the 2 of you didn't say that. You didn't ask. Little sister Selena said pitifully. LV Liang was really going to be speechless. I give full marks to you 2 for scamming me. It's true, you 2 really misunderstood, we are not suitable for each other. LV Liang hurriedly explained. It wasn't that he was acting cool, it was just that he really didn't like vampires. If the other party was 2 ordinary girls, he would definitely accept them. After hearing that, the 2 sisters silently lowered their heads. Do it then. Selena said faintly. LV Liang was confused. Do what? This place isn't suitable, right? The etiquette is already done. If you don't want to accept us sisters, then please execute us. You can be at ease, us sisters won't have any complaints towards you. You are a powerful king, it is us who aren't worthy of you, bringing you inconveniences. Little sister and I are sorry. When the hard method doesn't work, the soft method comes, The hard method really doesn't work. Chapter 435. Hearing that, the sisters did not have any complaints and slowly closed their beautiful eyes. At least, this is better than being a slave by Lucifer's side. However, after waiting for a long time and seeing that there was no movement, they opened their beautiful eyes and took a look. There is no one in front of me. Big sister, did we become ugly? No one actually wants us anymore? Celine was very disappointed. It wasn't easy for me to meet someone that I like, but in the end, that person doesn't like me. As the big sister, Celine was much calmer. Little sister, such a strong man would naturally understand humility. Is that so? I feel that he cares about our status. Hearing what the little sister said, the big sister was already disappointed. LV Shu, who returned to the bar, let out a sigh of relief. You guys want to suck me? How can that be? Big brother, where did you go? Yi Hong was currently packing up the chairs and preparing to get off work. LV Shu smiled. I went to save a single girl. Tang Wei teased. Then why didn't you bring her back? It's a long story, a long story. Zishan wiped the table and said, LV Shu, you are Yi Hong's big brother. It is time to look for you. That's right, big brother. Without sister-in-law to take care of you, I am also deeply worried. Scram. The big brother raised his hand and slapped. You are actually teasing your big brother now. Wei Chang smiled. Let me tell you guys something. Little His Honor's birthday is going to be celebrated soon. Prepare a present. Everyone nodded their heads and began planning what to give His Honor. His Honor is so rich, he definitely won't like these vulgar things. We just have to prepare some exquisite small gifts, for example, dolls, toys. Don't all children like those? Do we even need to use money? Give treasures? Is His Honor such a vulgar person? Giving these things is completely looking down on His Honor. After cleaning up the bar, the few walked out and coincidentally bumped into Celine, who were standing at the entrance. Looking at their posture, it seems like they have been waiting for a long time. LV Shu's expression collapsed. What are you guys doing? Could it be that I am the only man in the world? Women are very peculiar creatures. When they entrust their feelings to you, they will not look back. Who are you guys looking for? Tang Wei asked curiously. The two sisters pointed at LV Shu at the same time, causing everyone to be startled. Yi Hong patted on her big brother's shoulder. Big brother, they are pretty good, let's take a look around first. After he finished speaking, he left with his wife Zishan. Don't be a third wheel. Tang Wei also held onto Wei Chang's arm and sat on the Qian to return home. LV Liang looked at the two vampires in front of her and said in a deep voice, What exactly do you see in me? I should know, okay? Serene pursed her lips, lowered her head and said, You're so flirtatious. Puff. This was really hard to change, revealing the truth with a single sentence. To be honest, if you were humans, I would definitely be friends with you. But you are blood breeds. I feel really uncomfortable. LV Liang told the truth. Serena said softly, LV Liang, actually, our bodies are the same as human girls' bodies. We can also give birth. As long as human girls can do it, we can do it too. Really? Don't lie to me. I'm a man who has been lied to before. I'm always vigilant. I don't believe it. Serene walked over and said in a sweet voice, Then touch it and you'll know. Not only did they throw money at him, but they also seduced him. They definitely wanted to suck him in. How could he make the same mistake twice? I'm a good person, LV Liang said in a deep voice. The two sisters nodded their heads, expressing that they understood. Why can't you guys tell that I'm rejecting you guys? I'm just being a bit more amiable, I don't want to hurt you guys. LV Liang, are you hungry? We have delicious supper and a lot of wine over there. You can eat whatever you want. Serene went up and held onto LV Liang's arm. Right now, LV Liang was feeling the majestic and grand feeling. His arm actually sunk in, it could be seen how deep the feeling was. I'll get someone to arrange it. The big sister, Serena, was a bit more reserved. These two women failed to seduce me, and they actually used delicacies to tempt me. Even if my big brother Green starves to death, I still won't go to that kind of place to eat. Do you have crayfish? Serena was delighted. And we have a lot. Let's eat some then. LV Liang said reluctantly. Inside the 7 bar, there was a bedroom, and the 2 sisters usually stayed here. LV Liang, you are the first man to enter our room, Serene said bashfully. Compared to her big sister, she was a lot more straightforward. Looking at the pink world in front of him, it really doesn't match with him being green at all. Actually, we can just go outside to eat. We are afraid of dirtying your room, LV Liang said embarrassedly. How good would it be if these 2 were ordinary girls? Serena said tenderly, we are afraid of disturbing you if we go outside. Not only is she using delicacies to tempt me, she is also using sweetness to attack me. If it was an underling, he would definitely fall for her. But I am Big Brother Green, a man who was cuckolded before. I am the man that you guys will never be able to get. Open your mouth. Serena could be seen peeling a crayfish and placing it beside LV Liang's mouth. LV Liang opened his mouth and ate the crayfish. It feels so fragrant. Liang, stay behind tonight, big sister, and I will serve you well, Serena said coquettishly, and she even intentionally blew towards LV Liang's neck. However, this action made LV Liang feel that they want to suck me tonight. And even looking at the artery on my neck, they definitely want to bite me in that moment of excitement. And then fiercely suck me. Until I die. Dong dong dong. Come in, Serena said faintly. When the foreigner saw that the princess was actually intimately leaning onto a man's body, he was a bit surprised. However, he still said, Your Highness, a person who calls himself Jiuyi wants to meet you. Not meeting. Serena said coldly. Can't you see that I am accompanying my sweetheart? Wait, see. Why is he not meeting? LV Liang heard Uncle Wei talk about this Jiuyi before, and he really wanted to know what Jiuyi was doing here. The foreigner was puzzled for a moment, not knowing who he should listen to. Serena said faintly, Didn't you hear? See. Your Highness. LV Liang stood up and said, You 2 meet, I will eavesdrop. The 2 sisters knew what Yi Liang meant and nodded their heads. LV Liang didn't hide and directly jumped onto the big bed of the 2 sisters, covered himself with the blanket and pretended to sleep. It's been a long time since I've smelled a woman's fragrance like this in my life. Jiuyi walked in with a smile on his face. Just like before, he was cunning. Your Highness, Jiuyi said respectfully with Western etiquette. The 2 sisters were a bit shocked. This Jiuyi actually knew of their identity. Jiuyi secretly took a glance at the pink big bed, and there was actually a man on the pink big bed. Chapter 436. Your Lord Jiu? Serena asked. Lord Jiu said respectfully, Your Highness, just call me Little Jiu. Serene remained silent at the side. She thought to herself, so this is how it feels to be conquered by a powerful man. I can't wait to offer my most precious and pure blood. Serena maintained the demeanor of a princess and said calmly, What's the matter? My master knows that Her Royal Highness has been a little troubled recently, so he specially sent me over to deliver a small gift. Lord Jiu said with a smile. He didn't have many other things, but he had many masters. Now that he had lost contact with one, there was still one left. Lord Jiu took out an exquisite little box. When he opened it, the whole room was immersed in a blue ocean. Serena looked at the piece in the box and exclaimed, This is Neptune's spear. When Lord Jiu saw it for the first time, he was also shocked. According to his master, this was an ancient godly item. Even though it was only a part of it, if he could find the rest, he would be able to obtain a true ancient godly item. It was said that this great desolate era godly equipment had the power to split the heavens and split the earth. Master actually gave it to someone else, and it was only because he wanted to flirt with them. Your Highness, this is indeed the Neptune spear. If we can find the other 3 pieces, then we won't have to fear anyone. Jiuyi explained. Do you have any requests? Serena asked in a deep voice. Actually, my master doesn't have any requests. He just wants to have a meal with Your Highness. He hopes that Your Highness will do him the honor. The 2 sisters sneered inwardly. Wanting to use a quarter of the sea god's spear to exchange for their purest blood, truly delusional. Lord Jiu, please go back. This Neptune spear is very precious. You must take good care of it. Just as his master had guessed, things wouldn't go so smoothly. After putting away the items, Lord Jiu smiled and said, "This is my name card. If your highnesses change your mind, you can call this number at any time. My 8848 titanium phone is on 24/7, so don't worry." Serena waved her hand. Lord Jiu bowed and retreated. He sighed in his heart. Why bother? If you push my master too far, I won't give you any face then. When Lord Jiu walked out, the two sisters jumped up. LV Liang, who was deep in thought, was startled. She immediately smelled a delicate fragrance beside her. What are you doing? Don't mess around, I'm an upright and plain-spoken man. LV Liang hugged the quilt and looked at the two sisters vigilantly. Big sister Serena said faintly, LV Liang, you also heard it just now, a lot of people have their eyes on us. Sooner or later we will be. If that's the case, I might as well give that purest blood to you. LV Shu, I'm begging you. Please accept my and my sister's purest blood. At the side, Celine begged bitterly. Rather than being snatched away by someone else, she might as well give it to the person she liked. At least she wouldn't regret it. The *CK, who begs people like you guys? I'm really drunk. Putting away her frivolous expression, LV Liang said seriously, it's your own blood, keep it safe. But don't worry, I will protect you. The two sisters were stunned. Protection? Ever since the blood tribe was hunted down, only the two of them were left, and they had no protection at all. They lived in fear every day, but today, they were actually saved by a man who wanted to offer the purest blood to him. Not only did he not want it, he even said that he wanted to protect himself. God, there is actually such a good man in this world. Fortunately, I met him. I am so lucky. The two sisters lightly leaned on LV Liang's side. Serena said tenderly, LV Liang, if you want it, we can give it to you anytime. My God, as long as you two don't suck my blood, I can do anything. Why are you two grabbing onto my hands? I am not such a shallow man. While my skin is so smooth. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. I'll be leaving first, see you tomorrow. After finished speaking, LV Liang disappeared from the bed. The two sisters laughed because LV Liang said that he would see you tomorrow. This is a man with a sense of justice, and for him to still be able to hold on even when we are tempting him like this, it can be seen that he is not a fickle man. Meanwhile, at the bedroom on the second floor of Leisure Bar, the battlefield that was filled with smoke had just calmed down. Yi Hua lightly caressed his wife's body. He was very engrossed in the feeling. It was as if he was poisoned. However, this caused Donghuang Baiji to feel extremely bitter. Ali's birthday is coming up. Yi Hua said lightly. Donghuang Baiji let out a heavy nasal sound. I should be able to receive a large amount of money as a gift. Yi Hua smiled. Those subordinates of mine will definitely give me something of great value. Donghuang Baiji once again let out a nasal sound. It wasn't that she didn't want to speak, it was just that she truly didn't have any strength left. It was as if her soul had already floated away. Yi Hua said faintly, Your Majesty, looking at your expression, it seems like you are not satisfied with me. If that's the case, I will let you be satisfied again. No, Before Empress Baiji could stop him, this shameless guy had already started another round of conquest. Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi, who were at the side, had already gone to the office to sleep. The morning sunlight shone through the window, and Yi Hua opened his eyes. Lowering his head, he looked at the beautiful woman who was in his embrace with a pitiful look on her face. If he had used this method earlier, such a mess wouldn't have happened. Don't, the sleeping empress shouted out sweetly, almost causing Yi Hua to become impulsive again. However, the sleeping Donghuang Baiji is so alluring. Just by looking at her, I can't help but want to make a move on her. I'll let her off today. It's been hard on her these past 2 days. After covering himself with the blanket, Yi Hua got up and took a bath, then went out of the house to buy breakfast for his wife. As long as you follow this sovereign's will, this sovereign will pamper you to the heavens. Just when Yi Hua stepped out of Leisure Bar, he received Wei Cheng's contact. Your Honor, subordinate has something to report to you. Speak. Last night, LV Liang received two pieces of valuable information. The first piece of information is that the self-proclaimed demon king in Europe, Lucifer, wants to capture the Sisters of Seven Bar for their purest blood. The second piece of information is that Lord Jiao has a master behind him, and he wants to have a meal with the sisters by exchanging a part of a primeval godly item. Yihua responded, "These are all small matters. Buying breakfast for Baiji is a big matter. Am I being too biased recently? I should go and comfort Qingya properly in a few days' time to prevent her from complaining. After all, I have to share the reign and do equally." "Your Honor, what do you think we should do about this matter?" Wei Chang asked. "There is no need to ask me about this kind of small matter." After finished speaking, Wei Chang cut off the contact. Meanwhile, Wei Chang passed on his Honor's latest command to LV Liang. His Honor said, "Do as you see fit." After LV Liang received his Honor's command, LV Liang immediately felt pressured. "This time, I have to perform well and hope to receive his Honor's praise." Chapter 437. Yihua arrived at the entrance of the alley and saw that the auntie was currently making Chinese jianbing. Should I go and show off in front of the auntie? These few days, when I came over to buy Chinese crepes, I was ridiculed by this auntie to the point that I couldn't take it anymore. In the entire world, I, the supreme overlord, admire this auntie. 4 pancakes with eggs and ham sausages. The middle-aged woman looked back and smiled. "Handsome, you look good today. Is your wife back?" How would they dare to disobey me? I'll teach them a lesson anytime. As a supreme overlord, he is actually showing off in front of an auntie, sigh. The aunt smiled but did not say anything. This caused Yihua to feel very unhappy. "Aren't you very talkative? Don't look down on women. They spoil you because they love you." "Spoil me?" He chuckled. "You are wrong, I am the one who is spoiling them," Yihua said in disdain. The auntie smiled once again and did not say anything. This caused Yihua to be very speechless. This auntie is truly awesome, to actually be acting so mysterious in front of me. A moment later, the middle-aged woman handed over 4 pancakes. "Are you still going to owe me 4 today?" Yihua. This sentence almost caused Yihua to bleed. A formidable enemy isn't those people who possess absolute strength, but this aunt who is selling Chinese jianbing fruit pancakes in front of me. "Do you think that I won't return what I owe you?" Yihua said gravely, then turned around and walked towards Leisure Bar. But listening to this auntie's nagging feels pretty good. Are they spoiling me? He took out a jianbing and took a bite. It was especially fragrant today. In actuality, what the auntie said was very reasonable. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji were indeed spoiling Yihua. Take Donghuang Baiji for example. For the past 2 days, Donghuang Baiji had not even gotten out of the bed and was doing her best to satisfy Yihua's needs. He took 2 pancakes and gave them to his sister-in-law and Yi Zizi. Today was the weekend, so Yi Zizi was off. Walking into the bedroom, and looking at the Empress's spotlessly white shoulders that were exposed to the air, Yihua's lower abdomen once again emitted a ball of raging fire. Why is this Donghuang Baiji so captivated by me? Holding onto the crepe, Yihua brought it to Donghuang Baiji's mouth. Right now, the cold and arrogant Empress was extremely adorable. If not for Donghuang Baiji's tired state, Yihua would have definitely pounced onto the Empress and enjoyed her body. The Empress opened her beautiful eyes slightly and looked at her husband, who was very close to her. A gentle smile appeared on her face and she said, "Is it the fruit jianbing from the alley?" Hang, when the Empress started acting coquettishly, even Yihua was a bit unable to endure it. Sitting on the side of the bed, Yihua said faintly, "Do you know how enchanting you look like right now?" Seeing the eager look in her husband's eyes, the Empress instantly shrank back and said, "Let me rest for a day, okay? I originally wanted to let you rest for 2 days. I didn't expect that your Majesty would only need 1 day. It can be seen that you are very dissatisfied with your husband." Annoying, Donghuang Baiji smacked onto Yihua petulantly. That bashful look of hers was truly indescribable with words. For this woman to actually be this beautiful, I really have to sigh in admiration. After eating the love-filled Chinese jianbing that her husband bought for her, Donghuang Baiji rubbed onto her tummy. Yihua, do you think that I am already pregnant? If we put in a bit more effort, we should be able to. Yihua, you have changed. Yihua laughed lightly. Have I become bigger? Donghuang Baiji was very speechless, then said tenderly, my face changed. If I have such a wife and my face still doesn't change, it would really be a waste of a heavenly gift. You have also become a flirtatious person. Donghuang Baiji added another sentence. Although her husband has changed, he has become even more perfect. That kind of ice-cold Yihua is not what I want. Yihua smiled. Indeed, after meeting them, I have changed a lot. Let's hope that this is a good start. Where is Ali's birthday? Donghuang Baiji leaned onto her husband's arm and asked. Yihua lightly caressed onto Donghuang Baiji's soft body and said faintly, our family's birthday. There was nothing more important than being together as a family. This was something that Yihua had learned. Donghuang Baiji suddenly sealed onto Yihua's lips and said with a gentle gaze, Yihua, love me properly. Baiji, you are truly getting more and more daring. Yihua laughed lightly. He decided to properly dote on the Empress. To actually dare to openly provoke me. Qin Yutong and Yi Zizi, who were in the room beside Yihua, were wearing earphones to block out the noise. At night, Yihua walked out of the bedroom and stretched his body. This feels great. Coming to the office, Yihua took out a stick of cigarette. Where should I bring my daughter to have fun on her birthday? Go abroad to have fun? That doesn't seem interesting. Go to another planet to have fun? Admire the beauty of a foreign country? This idea is not bad. Daddy, Yihua, who was currently thinking, didn't notice that Qinya and Donghuang Li had appeared. Yihua turned around and carried his daughter into his embrace, then fiercely kissed onto her chubby face. The latter also gave her father a big kiss. Daddy, Ali misses you so much. Donghuang Li held onto her father's chest and said sweetly. Daddy misses Ali too. Lightly caressing onto his daughter's hair, Yihua felt that his life right now was perfect. My wife, my child, and my subordinates, I didn't die in vain. After the father and daughter pair cuddled together for a while, Yihua said with a smile, Ali, quickly go and take a look at Mommy and accompany Mommy to sleep. And then Ali won't disturb Daddy and Mommy Qing anymore. The little fellow was rather sensible and immediately ran out of the office. Only Yihua and Qinya were left in the office. Looking at Qinya's bulging stomach, Yihua stretched out his hand and lightly caressed onto Qinya's stomach, then said in a low voice, Qinya, thank you. Hearing her husband's heartfelt words, Qinya's beautiful eyes immediately turned red as she said with a smile, we are already husband and wife, there is no need to thank me. Do you still hate me? Lightly hugging onto Qinya, Yihua asked faintly. Qinya hugged onto her husband's strong body and said tenderly, Yihua, I want to apologize to you. This foolish woman, is she trying to move me to death? Seems like I have no choice but to properly dote on you tonight. Forget it, it is all in the past. Yihua said lightly. Qinya muttered, Yihua, you have your own standpoint, I have my own way of thinking. However, I have forgotten that you are my husband, I should support you unconditionally, and not help others to criticize you. Qinya's eyes lit up. Yihua was a bit surprised. I didn't expect that Qinya would have such a realization. This is a good thing, a happy thing. Since you have given me a way out of this embarrassing situation, I have to coax you and not let you suffer any grievances. I am also at fault, I shouldn't have shouted at you like that, especially when you are pregnant. Hearing what her husband said, Qinya was moved, and tears immediately flowed out of her eyes. When she was pregnant, her husband wasn't by her side, and Qinya could be said to have experienced it. I really don't know how Donghuang Baiji managed to endure it back then. Chapter 438. Yihua carried Qinya up. Such an enchanting wife, how can I leave her alone? Ah, Yihua, what are you doing? Qinya cried out in surprise, and her face immediately turned red. Yihua said indifferently, tonight, you don't have any more excuses, right? Qinya knew that this would happen. I can still find an excuse for my early pregnancy, but now that it is over, this fellow will definitely not be able to hold himself back anymore. Wait a minute, I want to ask you a question, answer me honestly if not. Yihua carefully pressed his wife down onto his body and lightly moved aside her hair. These two women's beauty is completely different. Qinya belongs to the delicate type, while Donghuang Baiji's expression carries a faint sense of arrogance. This is a kind of visual enjoyment. If not, what will you do? Yihua asked indifferently. If not, I will ignore you. Qinya said with a red face. Just that this kind of threat had a more coquettish feel to it. Go ahead and ask. Is Zhu Tian one of your people? This question is very thorny, should I admit it or not? However, looking at Qinya's appearance, she should have guessed it, just that she didn't have any evidence. However, now that we have reconciled, it doesn't matter if I say it out, we are all family. Yihua nodded his head. Actually, before Qinya could finish speaking, Yihua already kissed her. The latter struggled for a bit, then became obedient. Little fellow, I can't deal with you, just immerse yourself in my kiss. Looking at his wife's beautiful face, Yihua said indifferently, there are a lot of ugly things in the world. In actuality, I don't want you two to see them, just like Dongfang Yue whom Zhu Tian met. Her family was framed and destroyed, and I only asked my subordinates to help the weak and let the wronged souls rest in peace. There is really nothing wrong with what he said. Right now, he doesn't even blink when speaking lies. However, what he said seems to be the truth. I only hope that you two can enjoy the happiness in this world, and leave the dirty work to me. Qinya didn't expect that Yihua would think like this, and she was very touched. She felt ashamed for her actions. Yihua, so it was my ignorance, okay? Qinya felt that if Yihua didn't forgive her, she wouldn't be able to feel at ease for the rest of her life. The husband only wanted to give me a good environment, and yet, I didn't understand what he meant. As a wife, this was a very foolish behavior. Alright, I forgive you. Thank you, Yihua. A trace of an evil smile appeared on the corner of Yihua's mouth. I prefer that you use your body to thank me. Then can you be gentler, don't be like last time. Upon thinking about that night, Qinya's face became scarlet red. That night was truly an unforgettable night. Of course, Yihua wouldn't act recklessly. However, there was no need for Yihua to worry about the child. My bloodline is very tough, and no matter what I do to the child, nothing bad will happen to the child. However, he also had to take care of his wife's feelings. All right, I promise you. Hearing what her husband said, Qinya's face became red, and she slowly closed her beautiful eyes. Looking at Qinya's appearance, Yihua couldn't help but want to take back the words that he had said just now. This is simply waiting for me to pamper her. He gently took off his wife's clothes and gently caressed her. A beautiful melody came out from Qinya's vocal cords. This was simply the most beautiful sound in the world. After one round, Qinya's face was completely red as she laid on her husband's chest. It feels so comfortable. I will let you off today after you give birth to the child. Qinya sweetly rolled her eyes at her husband, however, she still said, got it. As expected of my woman, she is becoming more and more sensible. Where are we going to celebrate Ali's birthday? Qinya asked curiously. Yihua thought for a while, then said faintly, to be honest, our family of 4 has never seriously gone out to play before. How about we use Ali's birthday this time to go out and relax ourselves? Qinya felt that her husband's suggestion was pretty good and said tenderly, then, where are we going to relax ourselves? I haven't thought about it yet, but it is definitely going to be a place that is different from the masses. We will listen to your arrangements then. Qinya said tenderly. That's right, the aunt at the alley entrance owes you 200 plus RMB, you can go and pay her back tomorrow morning. After hearing what Yihua said, Qinya was speechless. Without me by your side, your life sure is poor and dejected. If you don't have money, tell me. Yihua said in disdain, do I look like the kind of man who asks for money from a woman? All right, you are the most formidable. In actuality, Qinya and Donghuang Baiji were the women who doted on their husband the most. Yihua felt that after this time, the two of them wouldn't dare to mess around anymore. Because no matter how bad the things that I, the Supreme Overlord, did, it was all because of you two. You two are the real culprits, and I, the Supreme Overlord at most, can only be considered as an accomplice. Chinya. Let's do it one more time. Don't, be obedient, nothing will happen. You go and look for Baiji. She is already at her limit. Then this will be the last time. Alright, this will be the last time tonight. Qin Yutong and Yi Zizi felt that it is about time for us to move out of the house, or to make a layer of super soundproofing. October 16th was little Ali's birthday. Today, the little fellow was dressed up like a little princess, and she was very happy. On this night, Leisure Bar was closed. It seems like there weren't any customers that came. Yi Hua's subordinates were all present to celebrate the little overlord's birthday. Just how big of a scene was this? Dong Huangli was about to be praised to the heavens by everyone, and the smile on her face had never stopped. Right now, Yi Hua came to the office and opened the gifts that his subordinates gave him. However, when he looked at the gifts that his subordinates gave him, he was simply too stingy. Wei Chang sent over a giant panda. If it was a real giant panda, then it would be fine, but this was a furry toy. Lai Gu sent over a set of dolls, the kind that can wear clothes. Does my child still want to play with such childish things? Absolute Heaven received quite a lot of benefits this time, and he actually sent over a learning machine. Yi Zizi's gift was even simpler. The princess dress that Ali was currently wearing was bought by her. However, when Yi Hua heard that the princess dress was bought by Yi Zizi through scrimping, Yi Hua felt rather gratified. There are even toy guns and remote-controlled cars. How can a girl play with such things? To think that you all can even think of such things. Not a single one of them gave me money. If I were to go and host a banquet, I would definitely make a huge loss. What happened to the treasures that you all agreed on? Do you all really need me to speak for you all to understand? In the future, if you all were to give birth to a child and celebrate your birthday, I would immediately come over and not give you anything. You all are too stingy. Downstairs. Lai Gu said with a smile. His honor will definitely like this time. In the past, I always gave you some treasures, and I reckon that his honor is already annoyed by it. That's right, the gifts that I gave you this time are my sincerity. His honor should definitely be very happy. Wei Chang said with a smile. Meanwhile, Absolute Heaven walked to the front of the two madams and said respectfully, Lady Boss, please forgive me for what happened that day. Chapter 439. Donghuang Baiji had also thought about it. If it was really her father who judged the case wrongly, as his daughter, she would definitely wash away the injustice done to the Dongfang family. Those who were involved in the case would definitely not be let off easily. Zhu Tian, is also my junior sister. Treat her well, Qinya said with a slight smile as she looked at Dongfang Yu, who was bashful after hearing Zhu Tian's words. Zhu Tian replied respectfully, Lady Boss, rest assured. This subordinate will definitely take good care of you and Yen exit. On the other hand, Dongfang Yuan and Guan Yenxin who were standing behind Zhu Tian had their heads lowered. The so-called care that Professor Zhu Tian gave them was simply unimaginable. That's good then, Qinya said with a gentle smile. Qinya had the aura of a respected madam. Donghuang Baiji who was at the side was the same as well. All of the subordinates felt that this was the attitude that his honor's wife should have, and this was the attitude that his honor's wife should have. Wei Chang, look at that Dongfang Yu. Lai Gu walked to Wei Chang's side and said in a low voice. Wei Chang said, Zhu Tian's luck with women isn't bad. In the past, he said that he wasn't interested in women, but now, he brought two. There is no such thing as a cat that steals fish in this world. As long as you experience the beauty of a woman, you will be unable to extricate yourself. Wei Chang fell into deep thought after hearing this. He looked at the alluring Tang Bingyao at the side. When would he be able to push her down? It felt like it would take forever. As a single dog, LV Shu stood at the side with a glass of wine in her hand and sighed. Everyone has a wife, either one or two, and the one who has the most is Lai Gu. He has 3 superstar wives, I am so envious of them. Furthermore, that Dongfang Yu is really good. I don't even know what to say about this kind of feeling. Big Boss Absolute Heaven is really lucky. He was extremely unlucky to be targeted by two vampires who wanted to suck his blood all the time. It was really annoying. Yi Hua, who was upstairs, lit up a stick of cigarette, then lightly flicked it. A three-dimensional version of the galaxy appeared in front of Yi Hua. Following the movements of Yi Hua's hands, the galaxy rotated, enlarged, or shrunk. The entire Milky Way galaxy had about 150 to 400 billion stars, and the solar system was just one of the insignificant galaxies. There were more developed galaxies, like the planet that he used to be on. That was the strongest overall and had a very strong fantasy color. But this time, he was accompanying his wife and daughter on a trip. Of course, he wouldn't choose to stay there. In any case, he would go back to take revenge sooner or later. After all, there were only 100 Supremes in the entire galaxy. They would all be wiped out sooner or later. Yi Hua opened up one galaxy after another and searched for his target. Retro Wuxia? Although the environment in Voidless Realm was pretty good, Voidless Realm's environment was more or less the same. Baiji and Ali were already familiar with each other. Xianxia World? It seems to be about the same as Voidless Realm. Apocalypse? There were disgusting monsters everywhere. How was this a vacation? It was more like looking for excitement. Yi Hua didn't know where the most technologically advanced planet in the Milky Way galaxy was located. Yi Hua directly searched for the planet, and it felt as if he was searching on Baidu. When a blue planet appeared in front of Yi Hua's eyes, Yi Hua felt that it was a bit interesting. Outside of the planet, there was a huge battleship, while inside the planet, there was a high-tech building that reached the sky, and all of the vehicles were floating in the air. Oh, as expected of the most advanced civilized world, combining technology and martial arts together. Interesting. Qinya and the others had definitely never seen such a world before, and it was also the first time that Yi Hua and the others had seen such a world before. Yi Hua and the others were curious, and thus, Yi Hua and the others decided to bring Qinya and the others to see the world. This is it. Blue Blaze Dong Dong Dong. Donghuang Baiji could be seen leisurely walking into the room, then said lightly, Yi Hua, it's almost 12, quickly come down and celebrate your daughter's birthday. Yi Hua stood up, then hugged onto his wife and kissed her. Don't mess around, everyone is waiting downstairs. Donghuang Baiji, who was mesmerized by her husband's kiss, hurriedly stopped him. While hugging onto that willowy waist that everyone was envious of, Yi Hua said faintly, tomorrow, our whole family will go out to play. It's a secret. Yi Hua smiled mysteriously. Donghuang Baiji's curiosity was piqued. When he arrived downstairs, he saw a huge cake being pushed out from the side. There were 4 little people on it. It represents his honors family. Very cute. However, when a group of death gods sang a happy birthday song, it was rather comical. The little princess, Donghuang Li, who was wearing a birthday hat, placed her hands together and made a wish, hoping that Daddy, Mommy, and Ali would be together forever. He blew out the candle. Lai Gu and Zhu Tian both pulled the kaleidoscope, and the atmosphere was very joyous. Yi Hua felt very comfortable just by looking at this scene. Where are the other 3 fellows? Still not coming back to the team yet? Do you need me to go and look for them one by one? At this moment, Yi Hua called Wei Chang and Zhu Tian to the side. I, the Supreme Overlord, will be going out for a few days. The 2 of you will deal with the matters here. If it isn't a big matter, don't contact me. Zhu Tian nodded his head, then asked respectfully, how many days will your honor be going out for? If it's quick, 1 week. If it's slow, 1 month. Subordinate obeys. The 2 replied in unison. Everyone celebrated until 2 a.m., and only then did they return back to their own homes and look for their mothers. The birthday girl had long fallen asleep in her mother's embrace, and Donghuang Baiji immediately brought her daughter to sleep, not giving Yi Hua any chance. Meanwhile, Yi Hua could only grab onto Qinya, and Qinya was also begging him in every possible way. For the past few days, Qinya had been pestering him every single night. Although Qinya was very happy that her husband was so infatuated with her, but Qinya really didn't know what to say. Qinya just wanted to say, back then, you said that you would only touch a woman once. Look at you, who knows how many times you have touched a woman these past few days. Yihua said, I take back my words back then. This caused Qinya to be greatly shocked, and she shouted out that Yihua was shameless. And every time when Yihua wanted to continue, Qinya would intentionally say that her stomach was not feeling well. Yihua knew that Qinya was pretending and thus, he let her off. However, I still haven't had enough fun. I won't have enough fun for my entire life. The next morning, the family of 4 woke up very early. Dong Huangli was in all kinds of excitement. Daddy and Mommy brought me out to play. What a happy thing this is. Qing Yutong would rather stay at home than go out and take a walk. Of course, when her brother-in-law went to act cool, she would shout out from the side. What are you two doing? Yihua asked puzzledly. Qinya and Donghuang Baiji could be seen packing their clothes, and little Ali also made a small suitcase and stuffed the little doll into it. When we go out, we definitely have to bring clothes. Qinya said. Daddy, Ali will clean your clothes for you. Yihua said faintly, all right, don't clean your clothes, it is not that far away. Qinya and Donghuang Baiji went into a daze. Donghuang Li's face immediately became bitter. What? Didn't we agree to go out to play? Why is it not that far away again? Daddy is a liar, Donghuang Baiji carried on to her daughter and said coquettishly, Yihua, how can you lie to your daughter? I have such a bad impression of you. I haven't even finished speaking, and you two already gave me the title of a liar. Is this really good? Ali, you have to listen to Daddy finish speaking, understand? Chapter 440. Because this time, the place that we are going to is a bit far away, and ordinary means of transportation will not be able to reach there. Yihua said. Hearing what her daddy said, Dong Huangli immediately became interested. You can't even go there by plane? Of course, it's at a very, very far place. While speaking, Yihua even gestured for a bit, causing his daughter to laugh. Not only was Dong Huangli curious, his 2 wives were also curious as well. Yihua, just what kind of place is this? Donghuang Baiji couldn't help but roll her eyes at her husband. Her eyes caused Yihua to become a bit restless. He discovered that after being pampered by him, the 2 of them became even more charming, and every single one of their movements was emitting out a peculiar charm. If he were to bring such lovely wives out, he would definitely have a lot of face. Yihua smiled faintly. All of you close your eyes. Papa, does Ali also want it? Yes. All right then. Yihua slowly located the position of Blue Blaze planet. Because the distance was a bit far, he wasn't able to pinpoint the position of Blue Blaze planet very accurately. But the 4 of them disappeared from the bedroom. There were still unpacked clothes on the floor, giving people the feeling that they had been kidnapped. The Ashen Star was huge. It was extremely huge. How big could it be? It was as big as 10,000 Earths. As the saying goes, where there are people, there will be conflicts. Moreover, this was the most developed civilization in the Milky Way galaxy. Although the entire planet was controlled by the Federation, there were many factions under the Federation, fighting openly and secretly. This was a power struggle. It was unavoidable. Papa, are you done? Ali, why do I smell a strange smell? Dong Huangli asked with her big eyes closed. Qinya and Donghuang Baiji slightly frowned. Why is there a bloody smell? Meanwhile, the corner of Yihua's mouth twitched slightly. This scenery is too beautiful, isn't it? The surroundings were filled with corpses, and the smell of blood permeated the air. The 2 wives immediately opened their eyes, and they were shocked by the scene in front of them. Dong Huangli also opened her eyes, but she didn't say anything, and there wasn't a trace of discomfort on her face. No matter what, she is still a child who had followed her daddy to see big scenes before, and she was completely able to adapt to this kind of scene. Yehua. Qinya and Donghuang Baiji shouted at their husband. Our daughter is only 3 years old, and you are already bringing her to see this kind of thing. This was indeed a pleasant surprise. Yihua also didn't expect that he would be teleported to such a place. Wow, what a big star! Dong Huangli raised her head and shouted out. Outside the blue sky, there were 3 huge planets that looked like they could fall at any time. If one ignored the corpses on the ground, the scenery was indeed charming. Daddy, where exactly is this place? Dong Huangli asked curiously. Yi Hua let out a breath and said faintly, "This is the most advanced civilized planet in the Milky Way galaxy, Blue Blaze Planet." Yi Hua looked at his wives' small mouths and gulped down a mouthful of saliva. "Daddy, how far away are we from home?" Dong Huangli was just like a curious baby. "Around 50,000 light years." Yi Hua said faintly. Dong Huangli asked again, "How far is 5 light years? Why don't you ask the mommies this question?" Yi Hua looked towards his wives. The father and daughter pair looked towards Qingya and Donghuang Baiji, and the 2 women immediately became confused. After waiting for a long while, Dong Huangli pouted her mouth and said, "Daddy, Mommy doesn't know." "It's better for Papa to tell Ali. Mama doesn't study much, so don't blame them." Yi Hua. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji said coquettishly. Who in the world would tease their wives like this in front of their children? Dong Huangli felt that what Yi Hua said was reasonable. "Daddy, don't worry, Ali will study properly in the future." Qingya and Donghuang Baiji didn't want to say anything anymore. "Ali, 30 billion kilometers is 0.003 light years. How far away do you think we are from home?" Yi Hua said faintly. The 2 wives were clearly shocked. "So far away." Yi Hua added, "We just crossed the radius of the entire Milky Way galaxy." After finished speaking, Yi Hua put on the appearance of a big shot. "Do you think that I am very powerful? Quickly come and worship me." Daddy is so powerful. Dong Huangli felt that Yi Hua was just a little fan of Yi Hua. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji smiled. They had already seen how powerful their husband was, regardless of which aspect. However, right at this moment, more than 10 black dots appeared in the sky. 10 pitch-black armored machines flew over, and the armored machines looked just like black beetles. In the blink of an eye, the armored machines surrounded Yi Hua and his family. "You have been surrounded. Put down your weapons, stop resisting, raise your hands and surrender." One of the aircrafts began issuing a warning. Dong Huangli immediately raised both of her hands. "This action of hers is just too cute. Yi Hua, I don't even know what to say to you anymore." Qingya smiled bitterly. "You said that you came out for a vacation, but right after you arrived, you are already surrounded." Donghuang Baiji carried onto her daughter who had raised her hands and surrendered. Donghuang Baiji felt a bit helpless. "Wow, Daddy is so exciting, it is just like watching a Marvel movie. Ali likes it so much." Yi Hua snorted coldly. "Did you hear that? Your daughter likes it this way." Qingya laughed lightly, then asked curiously, "Then, what do you plan to do?" "Since they disturbed our family's vacation, we naturally have to get rid of them." "This is all a misunderstanding. If you were to get rid of them, we would become wanted criminals. At that time, what would be the point of playing?" Qingya lightly held onto her husband's arm and said. Hearing his wife's soft voice, Yi Hua couldn't help but nod his head. Soon after, he came back to his senses. "Qingya is actually able to bewitch me, formidable. You have misunderstood. We are." Before Qingya could finish her words, 6 guided missiles came whistling towards Yi Hua from afar. Yi Hua felt that these were not ordinary guided missiles. Spiritual energy was contained within the guided missiles. As expected of a planet where technology and martial arts are fused together, this is a bit interesting. Boom boom boom. 6 loud explosions rang out in the sky, and the missiles turned into 6 huge fireballs that smashed onto the ground. Donghuang Li's big eyes were filled with excitement. This is what a vacation is like. Those 4 aircrafts could be seen immediately turning around and returning. Seems like we have met with people that we can't afford to offend. 2 black dots gradually appeared in the sky. Those were 2 small-sized warships. Even if they were small-sized warships, they were still as big as an aircraft carrier. The warships slowly stopped not far away from the warships, and a large amount of dust was raised. There were quite a few people that came down from the warships, and all of them were wearing the same uniform. The last one that came down from the warship was a rather handsome female military officer. Yi Hua took a glance at the female military officer. What are you looking at? What is there to look at? Dong Huang Baiji reminded her husband in a low voice to not peek at other women. Yi Hua felt helpless. Everything about the two of us is good, but when I look at other women, I feel as if I have already used my gaze to disrespect other women. The female military officer could be seen walking towards Yi Hua along with several hundred fully armed soldiers. Soon after, the warships stopped not far away from the warships. Yi Hua was very curious. Just what are you all trying to do? Don't have any bad thoughts, if not, you all will die. Swoosh. Chapter 441. The female officer shouted, "Thank you, sir, for protecting the bodies of our soldiers." "Get up, there's no need to thank me," Yi Hua said indifferently, and he had an unfathomable look on his face. Qinya and Donghuang Baiji blushed with shame. "It's starting again. I have clearly just arrived here. Wow, Papa is showing off again. He's so powerful. Ali should learn more from him." The female military officer looked at Yi Hua's face, and her face slightly reddened. What a handsome man. When he looked at the women on both sides, he thought, what beautiful women. Their looks and temperament are really incomparable. Seeing the female military officer's gaze, Qinya and Donghuang Baiji immediately became vigilant. "If you are here to snatch our man, then don't blame us for being ruthless." "Closer. I am Shi Tingting, a member of the aristocratic party. This place is still very dangerous. Please follow me, sir." Dong Huangli said with a smile on her face, "Big sister, you are a good person." Looking at Dong Huangli's adorable smile, Shi Tingting revealed a trace of a smile on her face. When the soldiers behind Dong Huangli saw that their chief officer actually smiled, all of them were very surprised. Yi Hua said faintly, "All right then." Qinya and Donghuang Baiji immediately held onto Yi Hua's arm and declared their ownership to everyone. "Thank you for your understanding, sir." After saying that, Shi Tingting raised her hand, and the soldiers collected all the corpses on the ground. The two battleships immediately retreated. Not long after they left, an even larger battleship appeared. Looking at the person who had already disappeared, a man shouted angrily, "Damn it, he actually ran away. A bunch of trash." This was a trap. Originally, 10 armed spaceships would have been able to take care of it. However, 4 people had suddenly appeared. That was why 6 of the spaceships had been killed. After boarding the warship, Shi Tingting arranged a first-class cabin for Yi Hua's family of 4. Every part of the cabin was filled with the feeling of technology. Qinya muttered, "With this kind of technology, who knows how many years it would take for us to be able to develop it? It should be from several hundred to over 1,000 years ago." Donghuang Baiji said gravely, "I have only seen these things in movies before. This is too mystical." With a swoosh, the door immediately opened, and Shi Tingting, who had changed into a dress, could be seen appearing at the door. Don't say, her figure was quite hot. Such an action was undoubtedly provoking Qinya and Donghuang Baiji. "Sir, madam, sorry to disturb you." Shi Tingting appeared to be very polite. Towards polite people, Yi Hua wouldn't make things too difficult for him. Sitting at the bedside, Yi Hua said faintly, "Pardon me for asking, but do you practice martial arts?" However, in the eyes of Qinya and Donghuang Baiji, Shi Tingting was trying to seduce their husband. In any case, other than themselves, all the other girls who were talking to their husband were all harboring evil intentions. "I guess so. Li also cultivates martial arts." Donghuang Baiji carried her daughter into her embrace and said lightly, "All right, Ali, don't disturb Daddy and Big Sister's conversation." A trace of an arc appeared on the corner of Yi Hua's mouth. "I often say that I'm the king of vinegar, but your Empress's vinegar is also very sour." Shi Tingting was a little embarrassed. "Sir, I'm being rude. May I ask what your level is?" "Level? Yes, sir, you must be a traveler. Here, the levels are divided into martial disciple, martial artist, martial knight, martial master, martial king, martial emperor, martial spirit, and martial venerable. Each level has 10 grades." Shi Tingting explained. Yi Hua paused for a moment, then, "I shouldn't be among them." Qinya and Donghuang Baiji were speechless. You actually dare to act cool in front of Big Sister? Are you thinking that we are old? Qinya said with a slight smile, I'm really sorry, my husband likes to joke around a bit. In actuality, he is a martial artist. Her meaning was very clear. My husband is too trash, so don't have any ideas about him. However, the truth wasn't like that. Sir, are you really a martial artist? Can you do me a favor? Shi Tingting, who was excited, immediately went forward and held on to Yi Hua's hand. The corners of Qinya and Donghuang Baiji's mouth twitched. Donghuang Li turned around and covered her face. Mommy's expression is so scary. Creak, creak, the titanium alloy armrest on the side of the bed was deformed by the two women's hands, and it was about to go berserk. Shi Tingting immediately reacted and retreated a few steps back. Madam, I'm sorry, I was too excited just now. Looking at the titanium alloy armrest that was deformed into a fried dough twist, Shi Tingting was incomparably shocked. Madam, may I ask what your level is? Martial artist. That's great. Shi Tingting seemed very excited, as if she was saved. In actuality, the three of them had long broken away from the division of levels. Even if a martial venerable came, they would be able to kill that martial venerable with a single finger. But it seems like even a martial artist can be very popular in this place. Are there very few martial artists here? Donghuang Baiji asked curiously. Shi Tingting let out a breath. Madam, practicing martial arts is very hard. It also requires talent, and also a lot of resources. Our Blue Blaze planet is a planet that mainly focuses on technology. With a set of top-notch armor, one would be able to defeat a martial disciple. However, if one were to become a martial artist, even in the main city, one would still have a place to stand. Martial disciple? Martial artist? Your planet is so weak, is this really good? Then, are there martial kings? Yi Hua asked curiously. Hearing Yi Hua mentioning about martial kings, Shi Tingting immediately panicked. Sir, martial kings are godlike existences. In the entire Blue Blaze planet, there are only 3 martial kings, and they live in the Imperial City and are revered by tens of thousands of people. In actuality, every world had its own division of strength, and Blue Blaze planet was divided according to an average. If one had to compare, then the 10th rank martial artist here would probably be as strong as Shao Yi. If not, how could martial kings be revered by tens of thousands of people? From this, it could be seen just how big the gap between the two of them was. However, the number of people who practiced martial arts in Blue Blaze planet was still very little, and this made the planet even more of a product of power struggle. However, even if this was the case, there was nothing to be afraid of, because Yi Hua knew that this planet was also controlled by a god. Even an overlord would be killed like a chicken, let alone a martial king. Just a clown, the supreme overlord would be able to take his head from 1,000 miles away. Alright, tell me what you want. Yi Hua said. Shi Tingting slightly leaned her body, and immediately, her white skin was revealed. This is the sound of a titanium alloy being twisted into a super fried dough twist. After bowing deeply, Shi Tingting said gravely, although I am from the aristocratic faction, my strength is too weak, and these 2 spaceships are the only weapons that my family has. Therefore, the aristocratic faction wanted to remove my title. When this news was leaked out, my family was attacked by the main faction, and my father and brother died in battle, leaving me alone. What a pitiful big sister. Donghuang Li really wanted to go over and comfort her. Meanwhile, Qinya and Donghuang Baiji felt that there was a bit of a problem with the last sentence. This is a crazy hint. Selling my body to bury my father. So? Yi Hua asked faintly. Sir, I know that this matter is very difficult, but I still hope that you can make a trip with me, and after that, prove your identity as a martial artist. All the aristocratic factions wanted to have a friend like a martial artist, and this was also a measure of one's relationship network. Chapter 442. With a plop, Shi Tingting immediately knelt on the ground. Sir, if you can help my family escape this crisis, I, Shi Tingting, swear to the martial honor that I am willing to be your servant and serve you. Yi Hua looked towards his two wives. Right now, I, the Supreme Overlord, am in hot demand. Don't you guys have any sense of crisis? Qinya and Baiji stood up and helped Shi Tingting up, and Qinya said with a smile, Miss, your words are too serious. My husband was just joking with you, we will help him. Thank you so much, sir and madam. I, Shi Tingting, will remember your kindness. Yi Hua took a deep breath, then said faintly, You can leave first. Sir. After Shi Tingting left, the room was filled with a sour smell. Yi Hua carried his daughter and said with a smile, Ali, what if mommy gets jealous? Kiss mama, even his daughter knew about it. Who's jealous of you? Ali, don't listen to your daddy, come to mommy's embrace. Donghuang Baiji stretched out her hand and hugged onto her daughter. Yi Hua said faintly, We are here to travel, and yet, you guys are here to interfere in other people's dispute. Qinya and Donghuang Baiji immediately realized that what they had done just now was wrong. Weren't we just jealous? Adding on the fact that the other party is also quite pitiful. Furthermore, this isn't a difficult thing to do, all I have to do is to prove my strength. In Yi Hua's opinion, a woman's hair is long but her knowledge is short. If he went to show off, there would definitely be people eyeing him. Would he still be able to travel with peace of mind? However, the two women also pondered for a moment. They really didn't think about what they did just now. Yi Hua, we're sorry, we didn't consider things thoroughly. The two women apologized to their husbands. Yi Hua stretched out his hand and pinched onto his wife's cheeks. You too, don't be jealous and use your brains more. In actuality, when Yi Hua wasn't by their side, Qinya and Donghuang Baiji were very smart. However, as long as they were together with Yi Hua, it would be as if they had someone to rely on. They wouldn't think about anything else other than accompanying their husband, taking care of him, and loving him. Actually, a woman in love has a negative IQ. Mommy, you can be at ease, Daddy will definitely not leave the two of you. Donghuang Li also cheered for her mommy. The two girls giggled. They felt that they were indeed a little stingy and easily jealous. In actuality, if it was Yi Hua, he might have already made a move to exterminate them. He was not called the jealous king of the cultivation world for nothing. The warship entered a military base outside of the city, and Shi Tingting arranged a car for them. Shi Tingting brought Yi Hua's family of 4 back to the manor to have a meal, and in the afternoon, they would go to the home of martial arts. Sitting on the hover car and feeling the comfort of the seat, Yi Hua said faintly, This car is much better than the one at home. Shi Tingting, who was sitting in the front row, turned around and smiled. Sir, if you like it, I'll arrange one for you. Forget it, my world doesn't have such technology. Yi Hua didn't want to participate in this kind of world's revolution. The era had to progress slowly, and being too fast wasn't a good thing. Shi Tingting seemed to understand and didn't say anything else. Wow, what's that? Papa, is that a giraffe? Right now, the convoy was traveling outside the city, and in the outer city, there were a lot of wild animals. This was one of the big characteristics of wild animals, and Yi Hua wanted to bring his daughter to have a look at these wild animals. A gigantic creature walked beside them. Its neck was more than 10 meters long, and its body was enormous. From time to time, it would let out a deep roar. Ali, that is a spirit flame, a large herbivore. Shi Tingting introduced the spirit flame carefully. Clearly, Shi Tingting was already familiar with Ali. Donghuang Li mumbled, The dragon that Daddy found is indeed formidable. Yi Hua, this is cheating me. What dragon is that? Donghuang Baiji asked curiously. Donghuang Li immediately reacted to what Donghuang Baiji said. Oh, the big dragon doll that Daddy bought for Ali. It's so formidable. Donghuang Baiji laughed lightly, then kissed onto her daughter's cheek, causing Ali to be extremely happy. Daddy, that blue light is so beautiful. Donghuang Li pointed towards the blue shockwave that was coming from afar. Shi Tingting's pupils gradually enlarged, then shouted out, Retreat! Retreat! However, it was already too late. Boom! The blue shockwave fiercely collided onto the hover car, giving off a dazzling light. The two cars in front and behind were instantly engulfed by the shockwave. The battleship that Yi Hua saw just now could be seen slowly appearing in the sky. More than 10 figures flew over and started observing the situation. When the flames disappeared, Yihua's 2 hover cars were completely unscathed, not even the paint on the cars had fallen off. Shi Tingting, who was at the front, was dumbstruck. What just happened? Why didn't I die? Could it be that I received the protection of the Martial King? Yihua turned his head around and looked towards his 2 wives. The 2 wives lowered their heads slightly. It was clear that they knew that they were in the wrong. Yihua opened the door and walked out of the car. Yihua stood in the sky, while Qingya and Donghuang Baiji followed closely behind him. Gao Yi was that flustered and exasperated man from just now. Unresigned, he actually chose to block the road and assassinate Yihua. Although he had violated the law, he still did it. Who are you all? Where is Shi Tingting? Gao Yi shouted out angrily towards Yihua. There are 10 martial disciples behind me, and their overall strength is enough to exterminate a family. Let me ask you all if you are afraid of me or not. Before Yihua could say anything, Shi Tingting, who was in the car, stretched out her head and shouted out, Gao Yi, what you are doing is illegal. So what? The aristocratic party has already abandoned you. Such a huge commotion, and yet, they did not come out to save you. From this, it can be seen that you are already an abandoned person. Gao Yi laughed madly. Who asked you to abandon me? Gao Yi, you can kill me if you want. But they are my guests. They are just 3 martial disciples. If I can't defeat them, I will go and eat shit. Gao Yi was completely unaware of who was standing in front of him. If one has the strength to act cool, then that is called awesome. If one doesn't have the strength to act cool, then that is called an idiot. Furthermore, this is an iron plate among iron plates. If you kick it, your body will be smashed into pieces. Snap, the sound of a finger snapping could be heard. When Gao Yi heard it, he went into a daze for a moment. Bang! His entire body immediately exploded and transformed into a mist of blood. Even the martial disciples behind him were the same. Yihua looked at Qingya, who was beside him, in disbelief. Good fellow. The supreme overlord, like women like you who kill without batting an eye. Do you think sh*t is something that you can eat whenever you want to? Qingya said coldly. I hate it the most when people scold my husband. In the past, I didn't have the strength, but now that I have the strength, I naturally have to stand up for my husband. Gao Yi's soul was crying out for injustice. When did I scold people? Can you be reasonable? Dong Huangli clapped her hands. Mommy Qing is so formidable. Ali, quickly get into the car, you are not allowed to look. Qingya instructed. Dong Huangli responded, then sat into the car. However, Dong Huangli still stretched her head out to look at the battleship. Donghuang Baiji's current strength was different from the past. Looking at the battleship that was preparing to jump, a purple longsword materialized on Donghuang Baiji's right hand. Swish, swish, swish. 3 purple lights flew towards the battleship. Chapter 443. Vice Captain. 5 seconds left. Don't worry about 5 seconds. Jump now. Vice Captain, that will cause damage. Just jump when I tell you to. What's with all the nonsense? With a "bayu" sound, the entire battleship seemed to have been sucked away by space and disappeared in an instant, while 3 purple lights flew into the sky. Did not hit the target. The Empress had failed. The Empress was very angry. Yihua patted on Donghuang Baiji's shoulder and secretly clenched his right hand. You want to leave? How could this be? The battleship that was in the middle of jumping was wrapped by an unknown force. The hard protective armor outside seemed to be squeezed by something and instantly deformed and caved in. Boom, boom, boom. The battleship could not withstand the pressure and exploded in the space-time black hole. Yihua's hands were even more awesome than the infinity gloves. The 3 continued to board the car, and Yihua said faintly, "Let's go." Yes. Shi Tingting swallowed her saliva. As expected of a martial artist. Too amazing. As an ordinary person, Shi Tingting couldn't feel the fluctuations of aura at all. She thought they were all martial artists. Very soon, the floating car entered the city district. Qingya, Donghuang Baiji, and Dong Huangli were all attracted by the city that was filled with technology. It was just like watching a sci-fi movie. There were many strange species walking on the streets, and there was actually someone who looked like an octopus. Wow, mommy, look, it's Donald Duck. Dong Huangli was very excited. This is what a vacation is like. Daddy is so formidable. Qinya and Dong Huang Baiji were very happy as well, and they looked just like happy little girls. Yi Hua displayed the sitting posture of a big boss. However, his gaze was also sizing up the city in front of him. This city is indeed not bad. However, the bodies of my wives are even better. Yi Hua stealthily hugged onto Qinya and Dong Huang Baiji's willowy waist and lightly rubbed against them. The two wives' faces were about to bleed. This bastard is becoming more and more perverted. Sir, let's go eat first, Shidingting said. Yi Hua nodded his head. Indeed, I didn't eat breakfast when I went out today. The hover car flew to the tallest building in the city. When it flew to the side, a window of the building stretched out, and the hover car stopped on top of it. The five of them got out. Shidingting pressed the shell of the car, and the whole car turned into a capsule. This technique was quite awesome. Sir, are you satisfied? Shidingting asked carefully. Yi Hua swept his gaze across the people on this floor. What are you trash looking at? My woman is just this beautiful. If you have the guts, then go ahead and try taking liberties with her. Unfortunately, Yi Hua is going to be disappointed. There is actually not a single long outyin among these people. Boring, boring. These people were all pointing at Shidingting and whispering. Shidingting knew what they were talking about and said in a low voice, Sir, I'm so sorry. Nothing, where do you want to sit? Yi Hua said faintly. All of them were salted fishes, and at the very most, they were the kind of salted fishes that were of a higher level, and they even had some brains. Daddy, let's sit next to the window. Ali wants to look at the scenery. Dong Huangli pulled onto the corner of her father's clothes, then pointed towards the seat that was beside the window and was currently empty. Indeed, the scenery would be pretty good. What does it matter if my daughter wants a seat? Even if my daughter wants the entire blue blaze star, this sovereign will satisfy my daughter. But if it was a son, he would fight for it with his own ability. Right now, Yi Hua also had the thought of raising a daughter from the rich and raising a son from the poor. It seems like I am also poor. In actuality, Yi Hua neglected one thing, and that's right. On Earth, my wives have plenty of money, but on Blue Blaze Star, RMB isn't useful anymore. In other words, if I have to take on the responsibility of earning money, will I, the Supreme Overlord, go and earn money? Don't think too much about it. Therefore, Yi Hua reluctantly helped Shidingting. In exchange, Yi Hua felt that he should let Shidingting pay for the expenses of this trip. Sir, that seat won't do. Shidingting said anxiously. Yi Hua turned his head around and took a look at Shidingting, then said faintly, At my place, there is nothing that won't do. What a handsome man. Qinya and Dong Huang Baiji smiled but didn't say anything. Even if they are going to travel, they still have to act cool. The five of them sat down, and Dong Huangli lied on the side of the big transparent window. While looking at the strange world in front of her, a cute smile appeared on Dong Huangli's face. Daddy, it's so beautiful, Dong Huangli mumbled. This city was indeed out of the ordinary when matched with the three huge satellites in the sky. This was all artificially adjusted beauty, and it had the most scientific basis. All of the plants and the layout of the buildings in the city were all a kind of aesthetic. Suddenly, a man who was holding onto a stack of paper, with a humble smile on his face, began handing out leaflets. Very quickly, the leaflet arrived at Yi Hua's table. The man took out a piece of paper and placed it on the table, then said with a smile, Space Administration, 5 social insurance and 1 housing fund, with double holidays and annual leave, please understand it. Right after the man finished speaking, 3 to 4 soldiers who were wearing high-tech armor walked over, grabbed onto the man, then took off the man's clothes and left. Yi Hua picked up the leaflet and took a look. The nature of the job is rather interesting. Apprehend space-time criminals. The nature of the job in this space administration is pretty good. Why is there a need to employ this kind of method to recruit people? Yi Hua asked curiously. Shi Tingting said respectfully, "Sir, there is something you don't know, but the job in the Space Administration is very dangerous. Furthermore, I have to go on a business trip all year round, and it is hard to say if I will be able to come back alive. Adding on the fact that the treatment is bad and the pension is low, I might as well stay on this planet and be a policeman." Chinya asked curiously, "Why not increase the treatment?" The Space Administration is sent by the royal family. Most of the profits from the Space Administration are taken away by the royal family, and the remaining profits are insignificant. Yihua paused for a moment, then asked, "You are from the aristocratic faction, and right now, there is still the royal family faction. What other factions are there?" "Sir, there is still the bishop faction. The one who attacked us today is the bishop faction, and they are in the imperial city. Every single faction has a martial king overseeing it, and their strength is very terrifying." Yihua let out an "oh," expressing his fear. "Sir, I am really sorry because of my matter. You all offended the bishop faction, and I am going to be kicked out of the aristocratic faction. I have disturbed Sir's travel plans." Shi Tingting expressed her apology for bringing trouble to Yihua and his family. Dong Huangli stood on the sofa and said with a smile, "Big sister Shi, you don't have to worry, Daddy is very formidable." Shi Tingting laughed. "Martial artists are indeed very formidable, but that is only in this kind of small city. If one were to go to the imperial city, martial artists are nothing much." "Yo, let me see who it is." "So it is Shi Tingting. Don't you know that this seat is specially reserved for me, Feng Lun?" A sarcastic remark could be heard, and a well-developed woman could be seen holding onto a handsome man's arm. And when that man saw Qingya and Donghuang Baiji, he was clearly shocked. How can there be such a beautiful woman in the world? Chapter 444. You guys are martial artists? Feng Lovlan's expression could be seen immediately changing, and she asked with a fawning look on her face. From this, it could be seen how popular martial artists were. If Xiao Yi knew that martial artists were so popular here, he would definitely stay here and develop himself. Yihua didn't say anything, and Donghuang Baiji, who was the empress, also didn't say anything. Only Qingya spoke on behalf of the family. "That's right," Qingya said faintly. Donghuang Li also pointed at herself and said, "Ali is also a martial artist." Feng Lovlan was shocked. Not only was Feng Lovlan shocked, everyone who was from the aristocratic faction was also shocked. They didn't expect that Shi Tingting, who was about to be banished, would actually bring 4 martial artists here to have a meal. Right now, no one dared to look down on Shi Tingting anymore. But a loud and clear sound of a slap rang out in the dining hall. Everyone looked at Feng Lovlan. When this woman becomes ruthless, she's simply inhumane. Yihua and the others were also very confused. Everything was clearly fine. Why did you suddenly slap your own man? Look at that man, he was holding onto his face, completely stupefied, completely unable to understand why he suddenly slapped himself. Feng Lovlan smiled towards Shi Tingting and said, "Tingting, this man deserves to die. He actually dared to seduce me. Fortunately, I noticed some clues just now and didn't continue to be fooled by him." Shi Tingting sneered. The man shouted out that he was wronged. "I didn't do anything just now, and you slapped me for no reason at all, and you even said that I seduced you. Simply too shameless." "Who seduced you?" "Feng Lovlan, it was obviously you who seduced me." "Tingting, listen to my explanation." The man could be seen kneeling in front of Shi Tingting and begging. He knew that Shi Tingting was about to rise up. Feng Lovlan said, "Tingting, don't ever believe this man's words. His mouth is full of sweet words. Although he was your fiancé in the past, he actually shamelessly seduced me, making me feel ashamed." This man was indeed Shi Tingting's fiancé in the past, until he was seduced by Feng Lovlan. When he had nothing to do, he would bring his male pet to show off, and today was also the same. Just that he saw that there was a martial artist beside Shi Tingting. It could be seen that martial artists were truly popular. "Tingting, don't listen to his nonsense. It was this woman who drugged me. That's why I did something that let you down, and she even threatened me, saying that if I don't kneel down and lick her, she will beat me up." Feng Lovlan yelled, "Men, drag him out and beat the shit out of him." fulfill his wish. Instantly, a few fully armed men in mechas walked over and dragged the man away. However, the man was still struggling. Ting Ting, I know I was wrong. Please save me. I won't dare to do it again. I'll serve you well. However, Ting Ting ignored them. She could still vividly remember how the two of them had treated her. This kind of man was only handsome, and this powerful noblewoman was completely played with like a dog. After playing with him enough, she would just kill him like this. It was the same in every world. The strong were respected, and the weak were food. Honorable martial artists, I'm really sorry for disturbing your meal. You can eat whatever you want, it's all on me. Ting Ting, take good care of the martial artists. This Feng of Lan was also a smart woman. She knew that her first impression of Yi Hua wasn't very good. Thus, she didn't directly start a conversation with Yi Hua. Instead, she expressed her apology and complimented the martial artists. Mister, this is my name card. If you have any questions, you can contact me. My 9949 holographic phone will protect you 24/7. Yi Hua accepted Feng of Lan's name card. This made the latter very happy, and she left happily. The reason why I accepted this name card is to prepare for when I don't need it. If the traveling expenses are not enough, at least there will be someone to count the money and pay for me. That would be my greatest honor. Mister, this woman is very good at lying. Seeing that Yi Hua accepted the name card, Ting Ting still stopped, in case her mister was lied to. The corner of Yi Hua's mouth curved up, and he said indifferently, only the two of them can lie to me. Qinya and Donghuang Baiji rolled their eyes at their husband. You are obviously the one who lied to us. And you still have the cheek to say that we lied to you, you are so shameless. Ting Ting felt that their relationship is really good. They are really a match made in heaven. They are incomparably perfect. Even their daughter is so cute and obedient. Very quickly, various kinds of dishes were served. Needless to say, the dishes tasted really good. The heat was just right. When it should be tender, when it should be loose, when it should be tight, when it should be tight. Advanced civilization sure is good. I reckon that this chef is a robot, right? If we don't consider the nutritional value, the taste is indeed not bad. So spicy, 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 Donghuang Li shouted out to her mother. Right now, Donghuang Baiji also had Voidless Realms mineral water, Bejeweled Jade Immortal Dew, with her. In case the child gets thirsty, the spiciness will help them quench their thirst. Donghuang Baiji could be seen grabbing at the air, and a bottle of Yi-Bao appeared in her hands. This move of hers made Ting Ting stupefied. What kind of spatial technology is this? This family of theirs is really mystical. It feels as if they are not afraid of anything at all. Furthermore, Mr. is bringing two such beautiful wives with him, isn't he afraid that something might happen? After all, their beauty is truly enviable. Mommy, help Ali open the bottle. Ali's hands are covered in oil. Ali waved his hands. So spicy, so spicy. Donghuang Baiji smiled gently and opened the bottle. An enchanting fragrance emitted out from the bottle of Yi-Bao mineral water, and the fragrance quickly filled the entire dining hall. Everyone closed their eyes and enjoyed this moment of comfort. Their minds felt incomparably relaxed, and it was as if all of the worries in their minds had vanished into thin air. Ting Ting, who was the closest to the bottle, was able to sense this fragrance even more. Furthermore, this fragrance seems to be familiar to Ting Ting. I remember back then when I went to the imperial capital with my father. I was fortunate enough to stand among the crowd and see the emperor. And back then, the emperor seemed to have opened a bottle of national wine for the sake of celebrating. According to the legends, the national wine had been stored for over 1,000 years. When the national wine was opened, it was also this fragrance that made everyone present feel intoxicated. Everyone looked towards the direction of the national wine. After all, the dining hall was only so big, and they would be able to find the national wine very quickly. Is that the national wine? One of the aristocrats muttered. How can it be the national wine? That is the emperor's most valuable treasure. Unless it is a major festival or a celebration, the emperor would not take out the national wine. That's right, the current martial king viewed a small bottle of national wine as a treasure. However, this fragrance is indeed as described, it makes one feel intoxicated. Dong Huang Baiji pinched onto her daughter's face and said dotingly, "Stretch out your hand." Dong Huang Li stretched out her pair of small hands. However, Dong Huang Baiji took the bottle and poured the water out. When everyone saw Dong Huang Baiji's action, they widened their eyes. This is too much of a spendthrift. This spendthrift woman, she actually used this kind of water to wash her daughter's hands. Chapter 445. Dong Huang Li washed her hands clean, then held on to Yi Bao with both of her hands. Gulp, gulp. He drank an entire bottle in one go. Burp, so cool. Looking at her daughter's adorable look, Dong Huang Baiji stretched out her hand and smoothed her daughter's hair. No matter what, we are still outside, I have to pay attention to my image. Dong Huang Baiji took out another bottle. Shi Tingting, who was sitting opposite, was dumbfounded. No wonder he used it to wash his hands. All the nobles also discovered that the beautiful woman actually had a lot of such things. Should I buy a bottle? Qingya opened the bottle cap and personally poured a cup for Shi Tingting. This caused Shi Tingting to be very terrified as she took the cup with both of her hands and received it. When the nobles saw that Shi Tingting could drink such wine, they were simply envious and jealous. Shi Tingting felt very honored. Their family was really nice. Shi Tingting took a sip of the water. This kind of feeling was like being in the sea. His body and mind were completely relaxed, and the joy of the brain was incomparable. This was the sublimation of the soul. I can't drink anymore. Sir, I don't want to drink anymore. Yi Hua slightly wrinkled his brows. Not giving me any face at all? Shi Tingting didn't finish her sentence. I want to store it and drink it slowly in the future. Yi Hua's brows gradually unfurrowed. To them, this water might be a treasure, but to me, this water is merely something that I can use to wash my daughter's hands. Voidless Realm spring water is truly one of a kind. Perhaps, even in the entire Milky Way galaxy, there wouldn't be so many spring water. It would be a lie to say that they weren't envious. Some of the nobles began to whisper and discuss bad things. After dinner, Shi Tingting brought Yi Hua and his family to martial arts home. Every city has a martial arts home that provides tests and assessments. The rating is produced in the martial arts home. The higher the rank, the bigger the city, the smaller the city. Of course, this is only for the Blue Blaze Star, because this small city is as big as a province. But small cities like this were quite common on the Blue Blaze Star. Looking at the 2-story tall martial arts home in front of him, Yi Hua felt that this martial arts home was a bit too shabby. Sir, this is a small place. There aren't many people who learn martial arts here, so the scale looks very ordinary. Shi Tingting explained. Compared to the other buildings, this martial arts house was indeed shabby, but there were a lot of people going in and out. There are humans, and there are also other races. This is truly an eye-opener. I wonder if I will be able to see Wei Chang's relatives. Mommy, do you think that if I take a photo with those strange uncles, will they pay any attention to Ali? Dong Huang Li hugged onto her mother's thigh and looked at those aliens. Right now, Dong Huang Li really wanted to go and take a photo with those aliens. Dong Huang Baiji smiled. Ali, you're asking politely. But Ali is shy, she doesn't dare to go. Dong Huang Li buried her face into her mother's thigh. Don't be fooled by Ali's carefree demeanor. When it came to other races, it was still very shy. Walking into the home of martial arts, the atmosphere was a bit heavy. Bang! With a muffled sound, the result of the test came. Lu Feifei, Martial Disciple Grade 1. Vast Green, Primary Martial Disciple. Hai Xiao, Martial Disciple. But if you think they will be disappointed, you are wrong. Even if he was just a beginner martial disciple, it also symbolized that his future path would lead to a martial king. Therefore, he was very happy and felt that he would be able to stand at the peak of the world and look down on everyone. However, they did not know the hardships of the path of cultivation. Some people cultivated to the level of a martial artist and were stuck their entire lives, unable to advance any further. Some people even gave up because they were afraid of being tired. In short, the road of martial arts was very difficult, but as long as one stood out, it would be a matter of bringing honor to one's ancestors. For poor children, that was their only chance. However, in this room, there were many people dressed in luxurious clothes. They were also waiting in line for the test. Along with Yi Hua entering the venue, a few groups of people followed behind him. From the looks of it, there were already people who had ill intentions. Of course, Yi Hua was aware of that. They can follow me as they please, as long as they don't do anything to me. He, then prepare to receive my wrath. Ali, go and give it a try. Yi Hua changed his mind at the last moment and decided to let Ali practice. Okay, Papa, Dong Huangli responded, then went to the back of the line. A staff member walked to the side and asked Dong Huangli, Sir, Ali? Shi Tingting was a little worried. Qinya said faintly, You can be at ease. Dong Huangli, who was standing in the crowd, looked very short. Because most of the people in the crowd were adults, only a few of them looked like youngsters. However, there wasn't a single child in the crowd. An adult could be seen walking to the front of the machine, taking a deep breath, then shouted out. Then the adult punched towards the machine. Bang! Failed next. When the adult heard the result, a dejected look appeared on his face. I didn't expect that after cultivating for so long, I would still fail like this. At this moment, there were a few machines that were testing at the same time. A man dressed in luxurious clothes could be seen walking onto the stage. Who is that? Yi Hua asked curiously. Shi Tingting said, Sir, that is Gao family's young master. The person who attacked us today is his older brother. Bang! Following a muffled sound. The staff member announced, Gao Ken, third-rank martial disciple. The crowd went into an uproar. As expected of Gao family's young master, he is already a third-rank martial disciple at such a young age. I heard that his older brother, Gao Yi, is also a martial artist. This main sect is incredible, they even stole away the limelight. Gao Ken is so handsome. Gao Ken, who was on the stage, swung his head, causing a few females to scream out continuously. At this moment, another man walked onto the stage. The man was dressed in ordinary clothes, but the crowd's reaction was very strange. Yi Hua felt very curious and asked, Who is he? Sir, he is from the royal family. His name is Zhou Jie. In the past, he was also very impressive, reaching 5th-rank martial disciple at such a young age. He could be said to be the youngster with the most potential of the year, but for some reason he suddenly became weak and fell down from the altar, thus losing the support of his family. After Shi Tingting explained, Qinya and Donghuang Baiji felt that this youngster had quite a bit of perseverance. He did not get knocked down by the difficulties. After listening to Zhou Jie's story, Yi Hua didn't think much about it. In any case, it was just a story of a hardworking youngster who finally reached the peak of his life after going through untold hardships. Too cliché. Zhou Jie slowly walked up the stairs, and behind him, some people were ridiculing him. I remember that in the past, they would always follow behind him and bootlick him. Young Master Zhou, don't waste your effort. In any case, isn't it better to just eat and wait for death? Haha, that's right, young Master Zhou, you are already no longer the genius Zhou of the past. Chapter 446. Zhou Jie listened to the ridiculing voices. Zhou Jie clenched his fists. These are all despicable people. When I recover my strength, I will let them know how powerful I am. Zhou Jie stood in the horse stance and clenched his right fist, then shouted out, Ah! Bang! Everyone was waiting for the result to be announced. The strength of that punch seems to be quite strong. Could it be that this Zhou Jie recovered his strength? Zhou Jie, beginner martial disciple. The crowd started booing. I thought that this Zhou Jie had risen to power, but it turns out that he is still the same. Hey, Zhou Jie, I heard that if you continue to be like this today, Shi family will break off the engagement. What a pity for Shi family's Shi Sihan. That's right, whoever follows such a trash would definitely not be able to stand it. Dong Huangli felt that the big brother on the stage was rather pitiful, being ridiculed by everyone. However, Dong Huangli admired the big brother's endurance. It seems like he has already gotten used to it. Zhou Jie looked at the group of despicable people coldly and shouted out angrily, "Life is full of ups and downs, don't bully the young for being poor." Zhou Jie's words were very imposing, causing everyone to go into a daze. However, after a short while, the crowd burst into laughter. Gao Can pointed at Zhou Jie and shouted out, "Look at this idiot, acting cool here even though he doesn't have the strength. Hurry up and go back, Shi family has already broken off the engagement with your family. You should save those words for your fiancé." Ha! After Gao Can finished speaking, the crowd burst into laughter once again. Zhou Jie's face became gloomy as he memorized the faces of those who were laughing. "I will settle the scores with all of them in the future." After snorting coldly, Zhou Jie walked down the stage and walked outside. Bang! It was unknown who tripped Zhou Jie, causing him to fall on his face. Everyone burst into laughter once again. Zhou Jie was so angry that his chest was about to explode. "Is trash. Wait till I recover my strength, I will make you pay for what you did today." "Big brother, are you all right?" A pleasant voice sounded out. Zhou Jie slowly raised his head and saw a little girl who was wearing a princess dress in front of him. The little girl's gaze was filled with concern. Facing the little girl's concern, Zhou Jie felt that it was ironic. Since when did a little girl like me have the right to care about me? Zhou Jie stood up and said coldly, "It's none of your business." Dong Huangli pouted her mouth, then walked back into the group. Right now, Dong Huangli finally understood why everyone wanted to bully him. Looking at her unhappy daughter, Dong Huang Baiji held onto Yihua's arm and said, "Yihua, our daughter is angry." Qingye was a bit unhappy too. My pitiful little Ali, he clearly wanted to do a good deed, but in the end, the other party didn't appreciate his kindness. Yihua did not say anything. Not all good deeds will be rewarded with good deeds. My daughter also has to understand this point. Why would I be ridiculed by everyone? This is not without reason. The person who was standing in front of Dong Huangli was a young girl. Compared to everyone present, the young girl could be considered to be the youngest. The young girl's appearance was pretty good, and she could be counted as a beauty. The woman turned around and crouched down, comforting him. "Don't be sad, I've encountered it before." "Is that so?" Dong Huangli raised her head and asked adorably. Seeing how cute Dong Huangli was, the girl said with a smile, "Of course, there are a lot of them. So there are many such things." Ali understands now. "Ali, what's your name?" the girl asked curiously. "My name is Dong Huangli, big sister. What is your name?" The girl smiled and said, "My surname is Ziche and my name is Qingyi." Dong Huangli appeared to be very polite as she stretched out her hand and said, "So it's big sister Qingyi, hello, little Ali," Zish Qingyi said with a faint smile. "Ali, did you come alone?" Dong Huangli shook her head, then pointed at her parents who were not far away from her. "I didn't, Daddy and Mommy came with me." Zish Qingyi looked over and saw Yihua and the others. Soon after, Zish Qingyi asked curiously, "Ali has been practicing martial arts at such a young age? So powerful." Dong Huangli said proudly, "Of course, Ali has been practicing martial arts since she was a child." Zish Qingyi smiled but didn't say anything. "You're already so young, so how young are you going to be?" Ali's parents probably just wanted to train their child. "Little guy, being able to punch through a piece of paper with your little fist is already not bad." A young man standing at the side laughed. Zish Qingyi looked at the man and said, "Fei Bai, you're so shameless to bully a little girl." Fei Bai was a delicate-looking boy, and he was also one of the young people present. "Qingyi, I'm just speaking the truth, isn't that right, everyone?" Fei Bai spread out his hands, and some of the people around him nodded their heads. What kind of strength can a little girl have? Dong Huangli pouted her small mouth and had a very angry look on her face. "If it wasn't for Daddy and Mommy watching, I would have punched him right now and let him know that not only can Ali's little fist punch through a piece of paper, it can also punch through your body. Little fellow, it's better for you to go into Daddy and Mommy's embrace. This is the world of adults, it's very dangerous." Fei Bai laughed, then walked onto the stage. Of course, there was also Zish Qingyi. Zish Qingyi took a deep breath, shouted delicately and punched out. Boom. Zish Chingy. Third rank martial disciple. Everyone present went into an uproar. To be able to reach third rank martial disciple at such a young age, this is truly amazing. As expected of Zish Chingy, this proud daughter of heaven. Fei Bai, who was at the side, was not to be outdone either, and his entire body actually emitted out faint spiritual energy. This time, the entire place became silent. Spiritual energy actually leaked out. Bang! This sound caused everyone's ears to go numb. Fei Bai. Fourth rank martial disciple. Everyone was no longer able to remain calm, even Gao Can's expression was gloomy. This Fei Bai is also from the main faction. Although they are from the same faction, he actually dared to step on my head. This is truly hateful. When the time comes, I will let Big Brother go and teach him a lesson. Completely unaware that his own big brother had already died. The three elders who were sitting at the side revealed a gratified smile. All of these youngsters are not bad, their future prospects are boundless. This time, it was Dong Huang Li's turn. Qin Ya and Dong Huang Baiji were both excited, and they tightly held onto their husbands' hands. Although they knew of their daughter's strength, looking at the current situation, they couldn't help but feel worried for their daughter. Originally, Dong Huang Li was only so big, standing in the crowd, it was impossible to notice her at all. Right now, when everyone saw Dong Huang Li going onto the stage, they all laughed out loud. With such a small height, not even the equipment on the stage can reach her. Yi Hua and his two wives were very angry. These damned trash are actually laughing at our daughter, we really want to directly kill them. Little fellow, quickly go home and watch cartoons. That's right, little fellow, this place is very dangerous. Little fellow, quickly go home. Don't let daddy and mommy worry. Although Yi Hua was laughing, he was laughing at how cute Dong Huang Li was. Yi Hua wasn't laughing at Dong Huang Li. After all, Dong Huang Li has never seen a little girl before. Dong Huang Li pouted her small mouth. Ali is angry. Chapter 447. His tiny fist struck out. Bang. The sound wasn't loud, but it reached everyone's ears. Everyone admired the little fellow's jumping ability. His posture was quite good, and he would definitely become a good martial artist in the future. Seeing that her daughter was able to calm down and take the test, Dong Huang Baiji felt relieved. Ali's mental state is not bad. Yi Hua said faintly as he took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up. Qinya poked her husband, then pointed at her own stomach. Are you trying to poison your son to death? Yi Hua shook his head helplessly and stepped on the cigarette to extinguish it. Zish Qingyi, who was below the stage, felt that Dong Huang Li's stance was pretty good, just that she was too young. Yo, not bad. Fei Bai was surprised and showed a praising expression. However, just as everyone was exclaiming, something even more shocking happened. The gigantic instrument began to emit green smoke. Then, it began to shake violently, and cracks began to appear on its surface. With a bang, it actually broke into pieces. Dong Huang Li snorted. Dong Huang Li liked everyone's astonished expression. It seems like father, like daughter. They both like to see other people's shocked expressions, as if they had eaten shit. The three old men were stunned. This instrument could withstand a blow from a martial warrior. How could it explode? There was definitely a problem with the instrument itself. A staff member came out and explained, I'm sorry, there's a problem with this instrument. What about me? What level are you at? Dong Huang Li pointed at herself and said. The staff smiled and said, you can hit it again. Dong Huang Li pouted her small mouth. So, you don't believe in Ali? All right then. Ali could only make some noise. Dong Huang Li could be seen walking to the side of the machine, and her posture was still the same as before. Bang. The little fist fiercely smashed onto the surface, and then, boom boom boom. The entire machine flew backward and smashed a hole in the wall. Then, it crashed somewhere unknown. The entire place was silent. He rubbed his eyes, wondering if he was dreaming. How could that be? A little girl actually blew away the instrument. This was something that could block a blow from a samurai. Unbelievable. It was too fake. Dong Huangli was very satisfied with this kind of effect. Clapping her little hands, Dong Huangli waited for the announcement of her level. But what did they know? The staff member walked out and said with a smile, "Everyone, I'm really sorry. Both machines are broken. Please come again next time." Then what about Ali's level? Dong Huangli was unwilling to give up. "I have already waited for such a long time, why aren't I given a level yet?" The staff smiled and said, "Little friend, there's no way to determine your level yet. When we buy new equipment, you can come back for the test." Dong Huangli let out a breath. Acting cool is so hard. Why is it that Daddy is so awesome when acting cool, and why am I not able to? It seemed that Ali still had to learn a lot from Papa and strive to have half of Papa's demeanor as soon as possible. Dong Huangli, who was helpless, walked down from the stage, then took a look at Zish Qingyi, who was in front of her, and let out a deep sigh. This feeling seemed to be saying that Ali was really depressed. If she had known this would happen, she would have hit him more gently and wouldn't have sent him flying. Ali is really amazing. Although he did not know how strong Ali was, he was certain that Ali was at least stronger than him. Dong Huangli smiled embarrassedly. "It's all right." "Ali, right? Big brother, I misunderstood you just now." Fei Bai walked over and said while stammering, "I feel that I have lost a lot of face by apologizing to a child." Dong Huangli pursed her lips. "Big brother, Ali accepts your apology." "When did I apologize just now? You are simply spouting nonsense and creating trouble." Looking at his daughter getting along well with the group of older children, Yihua smiled. "I feel that my daughter has grown up." Dong Huang Baiji was a bit sentimental. "It seems like my daughter will leave me and die when she grows up." Yihua lightly hugged onto the Empress. "Ali is going to get married sooner or later." "I can't bear to." Dong Huang Baiji became more and more sentimental, and her eyes turned red. "Upon thinking about how my sweetheart is going to get married to someone else, my heart feels terrible." Yihua smiled. "How about this? Let Ali get married to someone else. This way, Ali won't leave your side." "That's the only way then." Dong Huang Baiji felt that what Yihua said was true. "My daughter cannot be married off to someone else. It's fortunate that my child is a boy, I don't have to worry about it at all." "Hello, may I ask if Dong Huangli is your child?" One of the three old men could be seen walking over and asking. Shi Tingting immediately shouted out respectfully, "Dean Kong." Martial arts home could be considered as the fourth biggest power in the world, but it doesn't participate in any power struggles. Martial arts home has schools in various big cities, and this Kong Yu was the dean of the school in this city. How could he be willing to part with a new star like Dong Huangli? In the future, Dong Huangli will definitely become a martial king, and she might even become a martial spirit, or even a higher-level martial overlord. Towards this polite old man in front of him, Yihua nodded his head. Kong Yu was overjoyed. Dong Huangli is a good child. If this old man teaches her, she will definitely become extraordinary in the future. Do I even need an old man like you to teach my daughter? However, seeing that your attitude is good, I will forget about it. No need. Yihua said indifferently. While hugging onto his two wives, he looked at his daughter bragging to others. Kong Yu wrinkled his brows, then signaled to Shi Dingting, who was at the side, to say good things about Dong Huangli. Shi Dingting shook her head. Although we just came into contact with each other, Shi Dingting felt that this mister doesn't like to say things twice. If not, he will get angry. It wasn't easy for me to beg mister, and now that the situation has stabilized, I don't want to disturb mister or make mister angry. Kong Yu stood there for a while. I have to inform the higher-ups about this matter. This Dong Huangli is not simple. Too formidable. In the future, she will definitely become a martial king. Most of the people at the scene had already left, and Dong Huangli was preparing to return to her parents' side. However, she suddenly had two big friends, and she really wanted to go out and play with them. Ali, Big brother will bring you out to play. Do you want to go? Fei Bai grinned and said, in actuality, this person isn't a bad person, he just likes to joke around. Zish Qingyi wrinkled his brows and said, where do you want to bring Ali to? Qingyi, look at that expression of yours, where else can we go? Of course, we are going to Zhou family to watch a good show. We are going to cancel the engagement. Dong Huangli became interested. Playing with daddy and mommy is boring. Sometimes, this place is not allowed, that place is not allowed. Ali wants to go, but Ali is afraid that daddy and mommy won't agree to it. Dong Huangli had a worried look on her face as she secretly took a glance at her parents who were not far away from her. Fei Bai said with a smile, Ali, when I was your age, I would have long gone out and walked around by myself. Hee hee, you get beaten up by someone every day. Zish Qingyi suddenly revealed this information, causing Fei Bai to feel very awkward. Chapter 448. Fei Bai had a calm look on his face as he rubbed onto Ali's head. Leave it to brother Fei. Zish Qingyi was helpless. However, he quite liked Ali. She was a very interesting little girl. Dong Huangli could be seen dragging the two of them to the front of her parents while trembling with fear and trepidation. Yihua silently looked at the boy and girl behind his daughter. The boy and girl immediately shrunk back. This man's gaze is so scary. Seeing her daughter like this, Dong Huang Baiji thought back to when she was young. At that time, she wanted to go out to play, but in the end, she was caught and beaten by her father. Daddy, Mommy, can Ali go out to play with big brother and big sister? Dong Huangli asked softly. Looking at her daughter's expectant gaze, Dong Huang Baiji didn't know if she should learn from her father and discipline Ali properly. Such a young child actually wants to go out to play with her friends. Right now, Yihua was also pondering. My daughter has the strength to protect herself, so I'm not worried about my daughter's safety. I should let my daughter have her own friends and social circle. I can't always tie my daughter to my side. I need to have my own thoughts and opinions. Seeing her daddy and mommy's sunken face, Dong Huangli lowered her head even more and used her shoes to poke the ground, looking very pitiful. Fei Bai mustered up his courage and said, Uncle, Auntie, don't worry, in this long and city, as long as I am here, no one will dare to bully Ali. Zish Qingyi silently nodded his head. Shi Tingting said softly, Mister, their two families are very prestigious in Long and City. Yihua asked curiously, is this place called Long and City as well? Yes, mister. What a coincidence, even their names are the same. It wasn't easy for my daughter to make new friends. Although they aren't the same age, it still wasn't easy. If I were to reject them now, my daughter would definitely be sad. Dong Huang Baiji thought so too. My daughter had been living in the courtyard since she was young, and all she came into contact with were maids. She didn't have any friends at all. Now that she had two new friends, she would definitely be very happy. When are you coming back? Yihua asked faintly. In the end, he still decided to let his daughter go out to play and let her experience the world by herself. Even if there was any danger, he would also know about it. Furthermore, with the strength that his daughter had displayed, there was no one in the entire Long and City who could be her match. Hearing her father's words, Dong Huangli became happy. Uncle, don't worry. We'll bring Ali to big sister Shi's house for dinner. What do you think? Zish Qingyi said seriously. He felt a lot of pressure. Ali's parents were definitely not ordinary people. Yihua silently nodded his head. Ali, remember to come back after dinner. Daddy, I got it. I guarantee that I will come back on time. Dong Huangli immediately became lively and started bouncing around happily. If this was an ordinary family, they would definitely not allow such a thing to happen. However, as the daughter of a supreme overlord, how could she possibly compare herself with an ordinary child? Yihua also wished for his daughter to experience the world as soon as possible. There are many kinds of friends, and I hope that my daughter will be able to clearly see who is good to her and who is using her. Mommy, Ali went out to play. I won't disturb Daddy and Mommy's honeymoon anymore. After finished speaking, Dong Huangli pulled onto Fei Bai and Zish Qingyi's hands and ran out. Dong Huang Baiji said, Yi Bai Baiji and said to laugh. Li Li's parents, Yenya Ji. Yihua patted on Dong Huang Baiji's shoulder. Don't worry, Ali is very smart. She won't be able to play with us. Children need their own space too. Yihua, I didn't expect you to know so much. Qinya held onto her husband's arm and teased. Yihua lowered his head and said softly, "The thing that knows the most is your body." Qinya pinched Yihua's waist. "This bastard is getting more and more shameless." "All right, children should play with children's things. We adults should also play with adults' things." "Shitingting, do you have any bars here?" Yihua asked faintly. "I'm going to take a look at what a civilized bar looks like and learn from other people's techniques. When I go back, I'm going to improve my bar. If not, I'm going to go bankrupt." Shitingting asked, "Mister, what kind of bar do you want to go to?" "The highest class ones, the ones that have the best business." "Understood." This was long, in city that was as big as a province, there were countless entertainment facilities. Of course, there were only a few high-class ones. After Dong Huangli ran outside, she was simply overjoyed. "I'm finally free from the halo of daddy and mommy." "Ali, your daddy looks so fierce," Zish Qingyi said softly. Although Zish Qingyi didn't show any expression, Zish Qingyi felt that daddy was hard to get along with. "Big sister Qingyi, my daddy is actually quite easy to talk to. The prerequisite is that you don't provoke him." Dong Huangli laughed mischievously, because the group of people that provoked mommy were all killed by daddy. "Daddy is the protector of mommy and me. Having such a cute daddy is truly a blessing." Ali feels that she is too lucky to be able to be daddy and mommy's daughter. Fei Bai asked curiously, "Ali, how strong is your daddy?" "I don't know how strong Ali is, but in any case, he is very strong." "What are we going to do? Are we going to play at the amusement park or are we going to play with dolls?" Dong Huangli was already impatient. Fei Bai laughed out loud. "Those are all things that children play. Ali is a child." Zish Qingyi revealed out a faint smile, causing Fei Bai to become a bit absent-minded. Soon after, Fei Bai shook his head. "Ali, let's go and watch the wedding annulment. That scene would definitely be explosive." Fei Bai suggested. Dong Huangli wrinkled her brows. "Is it that little big brother who was ridiculed by everyone?" "That's right, their family is treating us today, but this Zhou Jie's test is still the same. They will definitely come and cancel the wedding." Fei Bai was already impatient to see Zhou Jie's helpless and angry look. Wasn't he very arrogant in the past? To think that he is so amazing just because he is a pampered son, this is retribution. "If big sister Qingyi goes, Ali will go too." Dong Huangli held onto Zish Qingyi's hand and said. Zish Qingyi looked at Fei Bai, seemingly to be asking, "How are you going to beg me?" "Qingyi, we have been friends for many years, Before Fei Bai could finish, Dong Huangli cried out in surprise, "Big brother Fei, do you like big sister Qingyi?" Fei Bai choked on his own saliva, while Zish Qingyi turned her face away with a slightly red face. "Ali, how could I possibly like Qingyi? It can't be, it can't be." Fei Bai hurriedly explained. Zish Qingyi said coldly, "Who asked you to like her? Shameless." After finished speaking, Zish Qingyi pulled Dong Huangli and walked away. "Qingyi, listen to my explanation." Fei Bai hurriedly followed after Zish Qingyi. "You can go and explain to other women." Chapter 449. This situation is a bit similar to that of Papa and Mama. It seems that Ali can also be a matchmaker, Fei Bai had no choice but to follow. After hearing what Ali said, he was a little confused. In actuality, Fei Bai and Zish Qingyi had known each other since they were young. Long, and City's social circle was only that big. Fei Bai's family belonged to the bishop's faction, while Zish Qingyi belonged to the royal family's faction. They were destined to become rivals in the future. However, that was something to do after they grew up. After all, they were only 16 years old. When they were in the prime of their youth, they would hang out and play together. Zish Qingyi was one of the more outstanding girls among the three factions and was liked by many boys. Of course, Fei Bai liked her as well, but he did not say it out loud. He knew that since he was in the bishop's faction, it was impossible for him to be with her in the future. At this moment, an octopus bro walked over with a microphone in his hand. "Hello, this is a street interview." Octopus bro grinned, and his entire head was filled with tentacles. Looking at the octopus bro, Dong Huang Li's entire body went numb, and Dong Huang Li hid behind Zhixinyi. Fei Bai and Zhixinyi were now normal. Fei Bai said, "Interesting, what do you want to interview? I have a device here. Just take a look at your face and you will know how many times you have booked a room." Zhang Yuji's words shocked Fei Bai. The number of times he booked a room? Fei Bai said hurriedly, "What's there to test? Let's go, let's go." "Wait, I think the test is pretty good," Zhixinyi said indifferently. "Chingy, that's not allowed. I'll treat you to ice cream." Zhixinyi didn't care at all and let Brother Octopus do the test. Octopus was very happy. He wanted to break up a couple and take revenge on society. The test results came out very quickly. 0 room booking record. This made Fei Bai secretly happy. He did not think that Qingyi had not gone to a hotel before. She was a good girl. "Qingyi, didn't you say there's a dress you like? I'll buy it for you." Fei Bai immediately changed the topic. "Test," Zhixinyi said coldly. Dong Huang Li said in a low voice, "Big brother Fei, do you not dare to do it?" "He who says I don't dare? It's just a test." "So be it." Fei Bai could only bite the bullet. However, the results were often astonishing. At such a young age, he had actually opened it 153 times. Hearing this result, Zhixinyi's entire body emitted a chill. "Thank you for your cooperation. I wish you two a long life together." Brother Octopus ran away after saying that. He was very worried that he would get hammered. "Qingyi, listen to the explanation. This is all a group of scoundrel friends getting a room and playing cards. It's not what you think." Zhixinyi said indifferently, "What does it have to do with me?" Fei Bai kept explaining along the way, but he did not know why he had to explain such things. On the other hand, Zhixinyi brought Dong Huang Li everywhere and bought delicious food for Dong Huang Li. However, Fei Bai wasn't included. During this time, Zhixinyi received a call from his father to attend the banquet hosted by the Zhou clan. After all, they were all from the royal family. This time, Fei Bai got what he wanted. Although he was from the Episcopal Church, because of his young age, he could still attend such a banquet, and the elders would not say anything. However, after he became an adult, he could no longer do so. The sky gradually darkened, and the three of them appeared in front of the Zhou family's main gate. This was a very high-tech mansion, and the ecosystem was self-regulating. One could not help but admire the comfort brought by technology. There were many people who came to attend the banquet, and most of them were from the royal family. However, there were also young people like Fei Bai who came to learn from the experience and build a good relationship with him. In the future, they would be enemies. Dong Huang Li was also very curious, and she was sizing up Dong Huang Li. "This trip is too fun. In the future, I should come out to travel more often in the future to gain more experience." Li follow closely. Zhixinyi reminded. "Qingyi, don't worry. I'll be watching over Ali," Fei Bai said with a smile. He had not paid any attention to Qingyi this afternoon. Zhixinyi exhaled. "Keep an eye on Ali, I'll go greet him." Looking at Zhixinyi's father, who was not far away, Fei Bai tidied up his hair. "Should I pay my respects to uncle? Get lost." "All right." After Zhixinyi left for the time being, Dong Huang Li pulled onto the corner of Fei Bai's clothes. "Big brother Fei, do you like big sister Qingyi? Do children know what love is?" Fei Bai sighed softly. Dong Huang Li raised her chin and said, "A few days ago, my daddy and mommy were quarreling with each other, and I was the one who pacified them. This little fellow really knows how to endlessly expose me." Sigh. "Li, you don't understand our situation here. Even if I like her and she likes me, in the end, we will only become enemies." Fei Bai seemed to be very disappointed. How great would it be if we were in the same faction? We wouldn't have to worry so much. Dong Huang Li didn't understand these things and said naively, "Isn't it fine as long as the two of us like each other? Why do we have to become enemies?" Fei Bai smiled and said nothing. "You aliens are truly troublesome." Dong Huang Li sighed and said in an old-fashioned manner. Fei Bai laughed and teased, "You little alien, you sure are mature. Do you believe that I will be able to help you court big sister Qingyi?" Dong Huang Li smiled mysteriously. As expected, I inherited Yi Hua's genes. I like to do good deeds. Li, if you are able to help me court Qingyi, I will do anything you want me to do. Fei Bai patted onto his chest. Right now, I am not of age yet. There are some rules that I don't have to follow. Dong Huangli appeared to be very confident. Leave it to me. Fei Bai patted onto Dong Huangli's shoulder. Big brother appreciates your kind intentions, but there are some things that a child wouldn't understand. The banquet was held in the form of a buffet. People who were dressed luxuriously were chatting with each other in groups, and robots were shuttling back and forth among the crowd, serving drinks to the people. Meanwhile, Dong Huangli pulled out a stool and stood on the stool, then began eating the cake. This is too delicious. This cream cake is simply too delicious. Everyone who was present at the banquet was sent by the royal family, and very few people would touch the buffet. Even if it was a person who looked like a teenager, it would be embarrassing for them to eat like this. However, Dong Huangli was a child and she looked so cute. Li, is it delicious? Zish Qingyi held onto the cream cake and fed it to Dong Huangli. Dong Huangli happily received the cream cake, and her big eyes narrowed into slits. It's delicious. Fei Bai, who was at the side, was drinking fruit wine, looking very gentlemanly. Big sister Qingyi, let me tell you a secret. Dong Huangli said with a smile. What secret? Big brother Fei just told me that he has liked you for a very long time. Dong Huangli said with a smile. Fei Bai sprayed out all of the fruit wine that was in his mouth, then hurriedly explained, Qingyi, Ali is just spouting nonsense. Zish Qingyi silently took a look at Fei Bai, then let out a cold snort. Dong Huangli sighed. Big brother Fei, if you continue like this, you will become a single dog in the future, just like my Uncle Green. Chapter 450. Dong Huangli pursed her lips. It means a man who is unable to find a wife, a lone star, a lone wolf. Hee, how could I, Fei Bai, not be able to find a wife? I can find a whole bunch of them in minutes. Hee, go look for him. Zish Qingyi laughed coldly. Dong Huangli shook her head. This big brother Fei is also a male chauvinist. Within the crowd, there were a lot of people who were paying attention to Dong Huangli. The rumor of the national wine had already spread out. Not sure where did Xi Jinping from the aristocratic party found a martial artist, and when Xi Jinping was eating, the martial artist opened a bottle that was similar to the national wine, which attracted a lot of people's attention. He also wanted to know if it was true or not. Hey, isn't that Zhou Jie? Fei Bai pointed at the young man not far away. Dong Huangli also saw Zhou Jie. Tonight, Zhou Jie was wearing a white and fitting gown, appearing very refined and courteous. However, no one paid any attention to him, causing him to appear a bit miserable. Fei Bai laughed. I wonder if the Shi family will come tonight? If they come, then there will be a good show to watch. You like watching it that much? Zish Qingyi asked indifferently. It's not like you don't know how arrogant Zhou Jie was when he was strong. Look at him now, no one even cares about him. Dong Huangli shook her head helplessly. Big sister Qingyi didn't mean that at all. She is truly an idiot. Suddenly, four people walked over from afar. Damn, the Shi family is really here. Fei Bai exclaimed. Everyone looked at the people from the Shi clan. Among them, there was a girl with an astonishing appearance, comparable to Zish Qingyi, but their temperaments were different. Zish Qingyi was amiable and approachable, while Shi Sihan had an air of arrogance. Everyone looked at the four of them. They discussed in whispers. The Shi family probably chose to come today to break off the engagement. Yeah, Zhou Jie used to be a spoiled brat, but now he's trash. How could the Shi family let Shi Sihan marry him? I didn't expect the proud son of the past to fall to such a state. That man looks so familiar. Heavens, it's Lu Qing, a first-grade martial warrior. The big shot. Looks like the Zhou family is going to be ruthlessly slapped in the face tonight. There are even 2 martial artist-level experts. Is the royal family going to have an internal strife? Among the 4, there was a handsome man with a cold look in his eyes, as if he didn't care about anyone. This kind of small city was trash. Even a martial artist could proclaim himself as a king here. If he came here, wouldn't he be able to ascend to heaven? The expressions of the Zhou clan members changed slightly when they saw the four of them. Zhou Jie, in particular, clenched his fists tightly. It was obvious that he already knew why they were here. This was really a case of a tiger being bullied by a dog. That's Lady Lu Qing. I didn't expect the Shi family to invite such a person. Fei Bai was astonished. Martial warriors were such powerful beings that they could teach others how to behave in a matter of minutes. Dong Huangli asked curiously, "Is this Lu Qing very powerful?" Zijuqingyi took out a tissue and wiped the corner of Dong Huangli's mouth, then said in a low voice, I heard that in the main city, Dong Huangli's position is quite high. The Shi family is really generous. Fei Bai sighed. Dong Huangli continued to wave the chicken wing. We are all small figures, what is there to be surprised about? The chicken wing is still the most delicious, it smells so good however, to Long and City, such a person had not appeared for a very long time. This caused everyone to be extremely astonished. Uncle Zhou, hello. Shi Sihan could be seen walking in front of the Zhou clan's family head, Zhou Yutong, and politely shouted out. Zhou Yutong was a tall and sturdy middle-aged man, and there was a faint smile on his face. However, right now, no matter how hard he tried to smile, he was unable to smile at all. The other party's intention was already very clear. This Shi family truly doesn't give me any face at all, to actually choose this kind of occasion. Sihan, after not seeing you for a few months, you have become even more beautiful. Zhou Yutong endured the anger in his heart, and right now, Zhou Jie walked to the side and looked at this woman who had sworn not to leave him in the past. Shi Sihan said with a slight smile, Uncle Zhou, you flatter me. Today, Sihan came here to talk about a matter. Hearing what Shi Sihan said, everyone held their breath. She really came here to break off the engagement. Burp, a strange sound rang out. In this quiet occasion, Dong Huangli squatted down embarrassedly. After burping because she was too full, she let out a burp. After this small interlude, Shi Sihan said with a smile, Uncle Zhou, if there's anything that Sihan wants to say, you don't have to treat me as an outsider. Of course not, Sihan. If there's anything that you want to say, just say it. Looking at the martial warrior level experts and the two martial warriors behind them, Zhou Yutong didn't dare to say anything. Shi Sihan took a look at Zhou Jie, then said faintly, My father wishes for our two families to break off the engagement. Sihan is truly sorry. Hearing what Shi Sihan said, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Shi Sihan really said it out loud, that's a direct slap to the face. However, Shi Sihan said it tactfully, she was rather polite. Shi Sihan raised her hand, and Lu Qing took out a small box. Shi Sihan said faintly, Uncle Zhou, inside this box is a spirit-gathering pill, Jie should be able to use it. I hope that he will be able to find a better girl in the future. Bang! The wine glass in Zhou Yutong's hand was smashed into pieces. I am the dignified family head. And I actually got my face slapped by a little girl. Furthermore, it was done in front of so many people, this is a humiliation. Looking at his father's red face, Zhou Ye said coldly, Shi Sihan, take your things and scram. Our Zhou family doesn't welcome you. Also, it's me who is divorcing you. To everyone's surprise, Zhou Jie took out a divorce certificate. It seemed like he had prepared for this. Zhou Jie, I'm giving face to your father. I hope you won't tarnish your father's name anymore. Shi Sihan said disdainfully. In the past, you were favored by the heavens, and everyone had to suck up to you. But now, who do you think you are? Zhou Yutong took a deep breath and said, Sihan, is this really what your father wants? It's my own business, and I will make my own decisions. Uncle Zhou, please control your son and don't embarrass him in front of so many people. Hearing this, Zhou Jie shouted angrily, Shi Sihan, remember what you said today. My Zhou Jie, I swear to the heavens that you will regret it. Enough. Don't say any more. Zhou Yutong shouted at his son. Wasn't he embarrassed enough? Shi Sihan said faintly, Uncle Zhou is right. Know your place and know your own strength. Don't keep saying things like, life is full of ups and downs, don't bully the young. When you said that, I really wanted to laugh. Zhou Jie pointed at Shi Sihan and threw a punch at her. However, before he could make a move, his father, who was behind him, reached out and gave him a slap. Slap. It was loud and painful. Chapter 451. There were warriors on the other side. Father! Zhou Jie covered his face in disbelief. Shi Sihan smiled faintly and said, Uncle Zhou, it's fortunate that you made a move, otherwise Sihan would have been injured. Zhou Yutang's expression was gloomy as he said, Shi Sihan, you have achieved your goal. Go back. Uncle Zhou, your son was about to hit me just now. Shouldn't you apologize? Shi Sihan had a wronged expression on her face. Her acting was not bad. This Zhou Jie really doesn't know his place. I've already given you face, but you still want to beat me up. He was really a toad lusting after swan meat. Why didn't he look at himself first? Zhou Jie wants to apologize. Gao Can suddenly shouted from the crowd. He was from the bishop's faction, so of course he was happy to see such a situation. He also had the intention of beating the dog when it was down. As Gao Can shouted, the youths who had been bullied by Zhou Jie in the past also started to jeer. Dong Huangli said, How pitiful, to be targeted by so many people. Ali, if you knew Zhou Jie's character in the past, you wouldn't find him pitiful anymore, Fei Bai said calmly. Ziju Qingyi remained silent. In fact, no one interrupted. After all, the Shi family had brought a warrior with them. Who would dare to mess around? Zhou Jie, who had fallen to the ground, slowly stood up. His blood-red eyes glared at Shi Sihan as his body emitted a pure white spiritual energy. Damn, what was going on? How did this Zhou Jie? Zhou Jie is showing his prowess now. What a reversal, Shi Sihan is probably regretting it now. The spiritual energy on Zhou Jie's body grew thicker and thicker. His blood-red eyes turned white and his level continued to rise. Shi Sihan took a step back in disbelief. She didn't expect Zhou Jie to have such a reaction. Zhou Yutang, who was behind him, was very gratified. His son had indeed been enduring silently all this while. He was still the proud son of the past. As his strength increased, the dining table shook. Zhou Jie was like a bright sun, shining brightly. Beginner martial disciple. First grade martial disciple. 10th grade martial disciple. First grade martial disciple. 5th grade martial disciple. 10th grade martial disciple. This time, everyone was stunned. The Zhou family was about to rise. Zhou Jie had risen again. He was even more powerful than before. A wave of spiritual pressure gradually spread out, and everyone could feel it. What terrifying strength! This Zhou Jie was only 16 years old, but he had already reached level 10. How fierce! You wouldn't be able to find a second genius like him in the entire Federation. This Shi Sihan was slapped in the face. Although it wasn't loud, it was painful. How could she miss such a man? If this didn't happen, Shi Sihan would be the woman of a superstar in the future. She would be the object of envy for all women. Boom! A beam of white light soared into the sky. Zhou Jie had reached the realm of a first-grade warrior. Oh my god! How was that possible? He's only 16 years old, and he's already a samurai. A warrior of this age would be considered a genius even in the imperial capital. Shi Sihan stared blankly at Zhou Jie, who was in the middle of erupting. Stupefied, Lu Qing was also shocked. It was her first time seeing such a young warrior, especially from nothing to something. Just like leveling up from level 0 to level 10, he instantly went from an ordinary person to a samurai. Those youngsters who were mocking Zhou Jie just now all shut their mouths, and they were even afraid of Zhou Jie. The rising Zhou Jie will definitely take revenge on them. Oh my god, I suddenly feel so regretful. Just now, it would have been fine if Shi Sihan had left. Why did I still have to apologize to them? Right now, it isn't others who need to apologize. You are the one who needs to apologize. Fei Bai and Ziju Qingyi were both stupefied. We are only martial disciples, and Zhou Jie has actually reached the realm of a first-grade warrior. The difference between us isn't small at all. Dong Huangli licked the ice cream. She felt that she had changed from a small salted fish to a big salted fish, but she was still a salted fish. Zhou Jie slowly opened his eyes, feeling the power that he hadn't felt for a long time. Looking at Shi Sihan, who was in front of him, he said, "I told you before, I will make you regret. Life is full of ups and downs, don't bully a young man for being poor." At this moment, after Zhou Jie said such a sentence, no one refuted him and no one laughed at him. After all, who would dare to laugh at a 16-year-old samurai? Is he tired of living? However, Dong Huangli was amused by Zhou Jie's words, then pointed at Zhou Jie and said, "Ha, Ali has already heard you say that 3 times." Everyone at the scene, Fei Bai and Ziju Qingyi, immediately covered Dong Huangli's small mouth. "Little ancestor, that is a samurai, you are not allowed to laugh at him." Fei Bai said in a low voice, "Ali, it wasn't 3 times, it was 2 times, and the other time was said by Shi Sihan." "Oh, is that so?" Ali remembered wrongly. "I'm really sorry." Dong Huangli pouted her mouth. "Just now, I was too focused on eating." Zhou Jie took a cold glance at Zhou Jie. "I will properly teach all of those who laughed at me a lesson. However, I will first make these people in front of me regret. Shi Sihan, if you kneel down and beg right now, I will still take you in as a concubine." Zhou Jie said coldly. A lot of people felt that Zhou Jie was not bad. Although a concubine cannot be compared to a concubine, becoming a concubine of a samurai is still a great honor. After hearing that, Shi Sihan's beautiful face alternated between white and red. "I didn't expect that this trash would actually explode." "Zhou Jie, so what if this is the case? My Shi family is about to go to the Imperial City. Have you been there before? Do you know how many people like you are in the Imperial City? Even if you suddenly become strong now, in my eyes, you will forever be a trash." Lu Qing, who was at the side, couldn't help but sigh. Even in the entire Imperial City, this Zhou Jie can be counted as a genius. Right now, if you admit defeat, you will still be able to become a concubine, but in the future, even if you want to become a concubine, you won't have any plans at all. Zhou Jie, don't dare to say that I am an absolute genius, but in the entire Blue Blaze planet, how many people are like me? A 16-year-old first-rank samurai. Shi Sihan, I know that you are very regretful right now, so stop putting on an act, kneel down and kowtow to admit your mistake. There is still a place for you in my concubine. A second ago, Shi Sihan was suppressing Zhou Jie, and in the next second, Zhou Jie rose up and slapped Shi Sihan's face. Shi Sihan tightly clenched her fists. Why did this bastard rise up? He is a trash. A complete and utter trash. Right at this moment, a family's airship arrived in the sky, and under a blue light, a slightly plump man appeared on the airship. "Father!" Shi Sihan shouted out in grievance. Slap. Shihua gave his daughter a backhand slap on her face. How dare he secretly come to break off the engagement? If it wasn't for someone coming to report, he would have missed out on a genius son-in-law, a 16-year-old samurai. In the future, he would be a marquis. Everyone was shocked. This reversal came one after another, and the head of the Shi family gave his daughter a big slap when he got off the airship. Chapter 452. Shi Sihan covered her cheek, her eyes filled with shock. Her father actually hit her in front of so many people. Although you didn't say anything when I came here to break off the engagement, you must have known about it and acquiesced to it. How dare he hit me? He felt wronged. Shi Sihan felt extremely wronged. Shihua walked toward Zhou Yutang and unexpectedly held his hand, saying apologetically, "Old Zhou, I've really troubled you. This unfilial daughter of mine actually did such a thing behind my back. I'm sorry for staying here." Everyone scolded him for being shameless. He came just because he saw someone else rise up. If Zhou Jie hadn't risen, he wouldn't have come. Zhou Yutang didn't want to make a big deal out of this. After all, Shihua's cousin was in the imperial capital, And he was even an official. He couldn't afford to offend him. Since the other party had given him face, then forget it. Old she, look at what you're saying, it's all a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. Zhou Yutong revealed out a smile that he hadn't seen for a long time. Forcing the Shi family to lower their head, this Shi family's influence in Long and City is second to none. In the past, she had been happy that her son could climb up the ladder with the Shi family. But now, it seemed like the Shi family wanted to climb up the ladder with her son. Fei Bai whispered, "How shameless, too shameless. For the sake of benefits, they can do anything." Dong Huangli had a very puzzled look on her face. At her age, she still needs to digest what she just said. "This is a marriage alliance," Ziju Qingyi said indifferently. Even he could not escape the shackles of fate. Fei Bai comforted her, "You will find a man who will treat you well in the future." Dong Huangli immediately covered her face with her hand. Pushing the girl that he likes away, "I have never seen such a thing before." Ziju Qingyi said indifferently, "That's for sure. I'm definitely better than you." Fei Bai laughed dryly. Xihua smiled at Zhou and said, "Dia, Sihan is too mischievous. Uncle has already taught her a lesson for you. Don't be angry, we're family." "Who's family with her?" Zhou Jie shouted coldly. Xihua's face stiffened. This boy was humiliated, and he definitely didn't feel good. "She just insulted the Zhou family. Uncle Shi, what should we do?" Zhou Jie questioned. Why didn't he show up just now when he knew that he was a super potential stock? Did he take him for a fool? Xihua hardened his heart. This Zhou Jie would definitely have extraordinary achievements in the future. He had to pull him along. "Sihan, come here." Xihua shouted angrily. Sihan covered her face and slowly walked over. "Apologize to Ji." Sihan widened her eyes. "Father, how can I apologize?" "Not only do you have to apologize, you have to kneel down and apologize to me. Who told you to break off the engagement? Your wings have hardened." Xihua roared. "Father, you actually made your daughter kneel." "I won't kneel." Sihan was also a woman with character. She never regretted her words. Xihua said solemnly, "I see that you are getting bolder and bolder." With a single hand, he pressed his daughter onto the ground. Even though she wasn't kneeling, it was enough to show her attitude. Of course, Zhou Yutong had to play the good cop at this moment. He quickly helped Sihan up and smiled. "It's normal for youngsters to be noisy. Don't you think so?" Xihua also said, "That's right. Young people are hot-tempered. They'll be more stable after they have children." Zhou Jie suddenly laughed. "That's true. After Sihan gives birth to my child, she'll be a lot more well-behaved." Upon hearing what Zhou Jie said, the two fathers laughed heartily. Only Sihan knew what Zhou Jie meant. "This trash is definitely trying to torture me. You are not worthy of me. You are a trash and you still want me to give birth to your child? Dream on." Burp. Dong Huangli burped again. Dong Huangli couldn't help but rub her stomach. "I'm so full. If I continue to eat like this, I'll turn into a pig." Burp. Dong Huangli couldn't help but burp again. Everyone looked towards her direction. Burping in this kind of situation is very strange. It's as if you are not giving other people face at all. Facing the gaze of so many people, Dong Huangli apologized very politely. "I'm sorry, Ali ate too much." However, Zhou Jie had already endured for a very long time. This isn't the first time this little girl has done this. She's trying to disgust me. Do you know what I am right now? Do you know what a rank 1 martial warrior is? Even if I go to the main city, I will be able to enjoy special treatment. Even if I go to the imperial city, I will still be considered as a genius. How can I tolerate being ridiculed by a little girl? Guards, capture this little girl and bring her out. Not just anyone can sneak in and steal food." Zhou Jie shouted out towards the guards. In actuality, Zhou Jie had already completed a huge reversal tonight. His act of showing off was also very well done. Shi family lowered their heads, and now, everyone present had lowered their heads as well. This was enough to prove how high Zhou Jie's act was. It was already very good for him to be here, But why did he have to go and shout at a little girl? And furthermore, it was Dong Huangli. Don't you know that her mommy regards her as her life? Don't you know that her daddy is a supreme overlord? You actually dared to openly say that their child stole food? You're really too pretentious, little brother. Hearing that someone said that she stole food, Dong Huangli was not willing to accept it. Feeling wronged, Dong Huangli said, Ali didn't steal food. Where is she? Why isn't she here yet? Quickly bring this little girl out of here. She's an eyesore. Zhou Jie spoke out once again. Because right now, his ego was inflated to the point that he almost couldn't recognize himself anymore. Right at this moment, Fei Bai stood out. Zhou Jie. I was the one who brought her in. Zhou Jie sneered. Fei Bai, who do you think you are? What rights do you have to bring a person in? Letting a dog like you in is already a great honor. Fei Bai was quite angered. A vile person gaining power. A vile person gaining power. Then what about me? Zish Qingyi stood out and said. Right now, Zhou Jie is no longer the trash that he was in the daytime, he is currently a rank 1 martial warrior. I can't afford to offend him, and I can't afford to offend him. Zish Qingyi, you better properly look after the person that you brought over. In the future, don't bring any random cat or dog into our Zhou family. Do you think that my Zhou family's food is something that just anyone can eat? Zhou Jie's words dealt a blow to Dong Huangli. Feeling wronged, Dong Huangli retorted, Ali is not some random cat or dog, Ali has a daddy and mommy. Seeing that Dong Huangli's eyes had already turned red, Zish Qingyi said coldly, Zhou Jie, don't think that just because you became a martial warrior, you can look down on everyone here. Ali is still a child, what are you shouting for? Zhou Jie's expression turned cold. If it was 10 minutes ago, I would be able to accept what you said, but right now. Zish Qingyi, I can see that you are also from the royal family's faction, don't be so shameless. Bring along this brat and scram. Zhou Jie shouted out with his hands behind his back. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.